Thanksgiving morning. Happy Thanksgiving, everybody, as we get ready for the Green Bay Packers coming off a big win last week over 4 days ago, not even last week, over the Los Angeles Chargers, heading to Detroit to take on the 8-2 Detroit Lions this morning. Alongside Colin Russo, not really alongside him, though, because he is in his parents' basement in Connecticut.
Attic, let's be honest. Attic.
You're in an attic?
I'm in an attic. So I got a little couch set up here, and I got the equipment set up. Honestly, I think I did a good job. So all things
You're doing better
considered,
than me. I mean, you can see us on the video stream at ESPN Madison, at ESPN Milwaukee on YouTube. I'm like in like a back room. There's a toy closet behind me.
You've been a mess. You've been a mess. We couldn't track you down. We don't know what's going on with your equipment malfunctions.
What do you mean we couldn't track you down? Who are you trying to track me down?
You got the battery. You got the battery running out on you. You were an utter mess this morning. You had to get yourself together. I've been good. You've been talking to me and Max Morrison. We're good to go. It was you, the host of this very program, who has been a complete and utter problem to start off your Thanksgiving.
Yeah, I mean, that's a fair point, Colin. I am bad at accepting responsibility. I don't know why there wasn't a power cord with this thing. So, anyway, we'll make it work. He's Colin Russo. I'm Alex Strofe, getting you ready for Packers-Lions, 11:30 kickoff this morning between these two teams. Lions, 8-2. Packers, 4-6. Only a game and a half out of the wild card position, by the way. The Green Bay Packers only a game and a half back, Colin. Don't look now after the win over the Chargers.
I won't look now. I won't look now.
Why not?
I don't want to buy into something a little too early. I was at that Charger game. That Charger game was as good of a win as you could get for morale. And, you got the right guys getting involved with the rookies. Jordan Love had a very good game. And you beat a pretty solid middle-of-the-pack team in the AFC. But nonetheless, you can't really buy into something like this because there's too many question marks all over this team. And so, yeah, the bottom half of the NFC playoff picture is a little wide open. But to that point, a lot of things need to roll the Packers' direction. And because of that, I'm going to be hesitant on my declaration that this team's going to host a playoff game. So let's slow down on what this team is and what they're going to do.
They'll just be on the road for the playoff game. They'll just be on the road.
Well, they're not going to get over the Lions. Yeah, that's probably the case.
I'm just kidding. Look, they're not going to. They are not going to make the playoffs probably, but. Last week was a really good indication of what this plan was for General Manager Brian Gutekunst and constructing this roster, right? You have all these young guys, first-year and second-year pass catchers galore. Jordan Love in his first year as a starter. Last week was the first time this season, in the 10th game of the season, that I was able to watch the Green Bay Packers and say, I think I understand the plan now. I think I get what we're going for because you see the young guys like Jaden Reed and Dontavian Wicks and Jordan Love and Luke Musgrave shining bright against a team nobody really thought you should beat. And you do that pretty handedly. On top of that, you have these guys show up big, which hasn't happened all year. So last week, a very good indication of where the Packers are trending.
Well, one thing I'll say about that is, again, don't take away from the win in terms of a morale type of victory and getting the right guys involved. The Packers did exactly what they needed to do. To that point, you had the Chargers. You had them at home. The Chargers, Brandon Staley is – nobody in the league is better at losing than Brandon Staley.
That's true.
And Justin Herbert, as good of a talent as he has shown time and time and time again that he is a guy who cannot win a big game. To that also – the Chargers, coming off a game where they were at 41-38 against the Lions, sort of had that perfect offensive performance. Everything was clicking, and they still lost a tough one. Coming into Lambeau the following week, it's not an easy spot for the Packers to respond this quickly. Or not the Packers, the Chargers to respond that quickly. So I'm not going to put that much stock in how good the Chargers are or how big that win was. It was a little bit of a hangover effort, but nonetheless – I think the Packers, be happy with what you got. The Packers needed that type of win. But in terms of beating like a top-tier AFC team, I think we got to pump the brakes a little bit in declaring the Chargers that good of a team in the NFL.
So I realized what I tweeted out incorrect. I just want to give everybody a quick rundown of the show. We're moving things around a little bit because it's Thanksgiving. Happy Thanksgiving to you. Thanks for being with us here on Green Bay GameDay. I'm Alex Strofe alongside the pride of Connecticut, Colin Russo. here getting you ready until 11:30 between the Packers and the Lions to kick off the Turkey Day festivities. So what I tweeted out was wrong. Hopefully you're not reading my Twitter too effortlessly there, Colin, because I'm wrong already. I'm having a doozy of a day. 9:30 a.m.
You've been a mess. You've been a mess.
A little bit less than an hour from right now, Rob Domofsky, ESPN NFL Nation reporter, will join us from Detroit to update us on some of the things. 10 o'clock is when the injury report officially gets released. That's the Jason Wilde hour. He will join us from 10 to 11, and then 11 to 11:30. Colin and I will make our game picks coming up at 10 o'clock. That's the Jason Wilde hour, including the ever-growing greatest segment in radio, Yes or No, with Jason Wilde. Real quick, want to take a look at this as we'll get the official ruling on everybody we don't already have the official ruling on for the injury report at 10 o'clock when Jason Wilde joins us. But it's a long list coming off that win over the Chargers for the Green Bay Packers. I believe it's 14 players listed on the injury report for the Green Bay Packers, 2 of which have already been ruled out. The obvious one, tight end Luke Musgrave, was placed on injured reserve. Lacerated kidney, Colin. I can't tell you what that means. I just know it ain't good.
Probably not. It's probably a painful type of injury to get. He was hospitalized, right? So
he was, yeah.
That's, geez. Hopefully he gets healthy quickly. I don't know. I don't even know what the timeline is for something like that.
It varies. I mean, there's been other lacerations in NFL history. Typically, it seems like it's somewhere between like 4 and 8 weeks. At least from past examples. I was reading a thread. I think it was from Adam Schefter earlier in the week. It's a unique injury. So he landed on a football last week against the Chargers, finished the game, and then went to the hospital later. So shout out to Luke Musgrave fighting through that. Whether or not that's the right decision, I don't know. But nonetheless, pretty badass from Luke Musgrave, who was the rookie tight end who was placed on injured reserve. So obviously he will be out of today's game. Running back Aaron Jones sprained MCL against the Chargers. He is out today as well. A lot of running back movement this week for the Packers, including, it should be noted here in segment number 1, Colin Russo is a proud Jacksonville Jaguars fan. Jacksonville Jaguars legend James Robinson signed to the 53-man roster for the Packers this week. He will be in somewhat of the rotation behind A.J. Dillon alongside some of the other guys. Patrick Taylor signed from the Patriots practice squad as well, former Packer. And there's a guy by the name of Ellis Merriweather who was on the practice squad. It just seems like a Thanksgiving name, Colin. Ellis Merriweather. Just seems like this would be the day for him to break out.
That seems like a Christmas name, no?
I mean, the Packers do play Christmas Eve, but no, Ellis Merriweather hits me as like a Pilgrim-esque name. Just sounds very Thanksgiving-y to me.
I don't know. I think you're reaching on that one. That Merriweather sounds exactly like a Christmas type of.
Well, Mary, yeah, I see where your head's at there. That's fair.
Nonetheless, a lot of running backs. James Robinson, Jaguar legend indeed. He hasn't caught a break really with his getting luck in terms of the injuries. He had tore his Achilles around 2 years ago. And he hasn't really been the same since. And, he's the type of guy who's kind of got killed by that running back purgatory. He was an undrafted rookie. These players nowadays don't get second contracts unless you're a top-of-the-line running back.
Yeah.
And he kind of got used as a workhorse in Jacksonville, and then you're team hopping. So I'm happy he gets an opportunity. Hopefully he makes a dent today, but we'll see.
Packers on the road today at the Detroit Lions. Those are the 2 we know are out. Other guys to keep an eye on, Jair Alexander with the shoulder injury following the back injury. Been a beat-up year for the star cornerback, Jair Alexander. He is questionable for today's game. No real practices this week on the short week, but listed as a limited participant all week, Jair Alexander. Corey Ballantyne, another corner dealing with a shoulder injury. He would have been a full participant. He will be a go today. Devondre Campbell, the linebacker with a neck injury, also missed last week, was also listed as a full participant in Wednesday's walkthrough, but he is still listed as questionable. Tight end and H-back Josiah DeGuara, listed as doubtful with a hip injury. A.J. Dillon, by the way, also on the injury report, he's listed as questionable. This list is so long.
It's never ending. Oh, my goodness.
Yeah, Rashawn Gary's on here. He's going to go today. Rudy Ford, the safety, is questionable. Who else am I missing? Darnell Savage working his way back from IR, also listed as out. And wide receiver Dontavian Wicks with a concussion/knee is questionable. So Packers likely going to be very short-handed today, Colin, on a short week against the best team in their division who smoked them 2 months ago on a Thursday night football game at Lambeau Field. It's a cool opportunity today because it's the first time you're seeing Jordan Love against a team he's already played, right? This is the first opportunity you get to see Jordan Love in the same season against the same team. And he did not play well on that Thursday night game about 2 months ago at Lambeau Field. Now he gets the opportunity in a national spotlight again to respond to the Detroit Lions on the road without any of his skill position players, it seems like.
None of the defense. The defense is all banged up, too. You know, the name that popped out there was Devondre Campbell. You know, the fact that he was a full participant in whatever fake practice they had in a short week like this, that's a positive. And, you know, they're going to need a guy like him because what is Detroit going to do? I think it's writing is on the wall. They're going to run the ball. And they're going to run the ball all game long, get Goff back on track, and you need your defense to be stout, and you need a guy like Devondre Campbell, hopefully, to be healthy and playing because the Lions are going to do exactly what they did last time. They're going to run it down your throat, and it's going to be a never-ending fest of offensive line dominance and scoring in the red zone and making Jordan Love beat them. And that's exactly what they're going to do today. Yeah. And without any of his skill positions, after such a big week last week, against a team, like you said, that he's seen before, that could also be flipped. That team has seen him before. So we'll see how he responds, but more importantly, how are the Lions going to change up their game plan to make life difficult for him?
He's Colin Russo. I'm Alex Strofe. It is Green Bay Game Day with you here on 94.5 ESPN Milwaukee, 100.5 ESPN Madison, and the Powerhouse 620 WTMJ leading up to kickoff between the Lions and the Packers at 11:30. Packers on the road today, but they're back home next Sunday. Primetime matchup under the lights against the Kansas City Chiefs. You don't want to drive up to Green Bay. You're wishing there was a convenient and fun way to get to Green Bay, so you should make the trip a part of your game day party. Milwaukee Broadhouse, Jack's American Pub, and Wanakee Golf Course all offer transportation on game days. They've got bus services with private restrooms and all-you-can-drink packages. Book your round trip from any of those locations and get complimentary access to all-you-can-eat and drink tailgate at the bar on Holmgren Way. Make your game day experience a VIP experience, people, with your official ride to Green Bay. There's still room for that Sunday night game, December 3rd, against Kansas City. Book your trip today at MilwaukeeBrothouse.com. Use code ESPN23. That's ESPN23 for 10% off your ride at MilwaukeeBrothouse.com. Again, that list of locations that offer transportation. Milwaukee Broadhouse, Jack's American Pub, and Wanakee Golf Course. Visit MilwaukeeBrothouse.com. Use code ESPN23. There is quite the stat making the rounds about the Detroit Lions against the Green Bay Packers and the phase the moon is in. We'll talk about that next, as well as which Packers rookie you are most thankful for as the Thanksgiving party continues. It's Green Bay Game Day on ESPN Wisconsin at 620 WTMJ.
More Green Bay Game Day coming up on ESPN Wisconsin and 620 WTMJ.
How much does it cost to talk to Gruber Law Offices after a serious crash? It's free. Yes, free. As in, it won't cost you anything to speak with us. Not sure if you have a case? Call our team at Gruber Law Offices today. Your first call and your first consultation are always free. And you'll never pay us a fee until we win your case. If you've been seriously injured, call Gruber Law Offices. One call, that's all.
Your Honda gets you everywhere. When it needs service, you need Zimbrick Honda service. Their customer service is second to none, and you can experience it yourself at 2 convenient Madison locations on Fish Hatchery Road and Grand Canyon Drive. Honda certified technicians handle it all. You can even get flexible payment options. Fix your car now and pay later. Apply online to see your options in seconds with no hard credit check. Make your service appointment online at ZimbrickHonda.com. Zimbrick Honda Service Center on Fish Hatchery Road and Grand Canyon Drive. Part of the Madison community since 1973. Shop Zimbrick Honda.
Life's better with a home policy from American Family Insurance because you'll feel protected no matter how the wind blows. All so you can keep enjoying the home of your dreams. And our expert agents can help you save up to 23% when you bundle home with auto. Insure carefully, dream fearlessly. American Family Insurance. Get a quote? Find an agent at amfam.com.
products not available in every state. Visit amfam.com to learn how discounts may apply to you. American Family Mutual Insurance Company, SI, and its operating company, 6000 American Parkway, Madison, Wisconsin.
Santa's back. Back again. Santa's back.
That's not a Christmas song, Dad.
That's true, Sid, but I'm celebrating our ESPN Wisconsin Racine Danish Kringles Jingle for Your Kringle contest on Wilde and Tausch, where you could win Kringle for a year. It's back for another year.
Can I enter?
Sure, anyone can. All you have to do is submit your own original jingle to celebrate the holidays and Racine Danish Kringle to ESPNWisconsinContest.com. Then we'll pick the most creative songs, and our grand prize winner will get Kringle for a year. There's only one requirement. Make sure you include Racine Danish Kringles. It's not just a treat, it's a tradition in your jingle. Or if you don't want to sing, but you still want to celebrate the holidays with the Racine Danish Kringle, call 800-4DANISH or visit Kringle.com and order their all-new holiday stick sampler.
Sweet dreams of holiday Kringle, Mary Berry and apple, and lots of icing too.
Sid, what are you doing?
I'm working on my jingle. Kringle, I love you.
At Starion Bank, they pride themselves on being a super community bank. Small enough to show they care about you and the communities they serve, while being large enough to make big things happen. With 3 Madison area branches in Middleton, Sun Prairie, and Monona, Starion Bank is here investing in your community while offering valuable personal and business banking services. Start your experience with Starion Bank today by going to starionbank.com. Member FDIC.
You're listening to Green Bay Game Day on ESPN Wisconsin and with 620 WTMJ.
Green Bay Game Day on your Thanksgiving rolls on alongside Colin Russo. I'm Alex Strofe with you here on ESPN Wisconsin and 620 WTMJ. What are you looking at?
Nothing. I was just a little confused. You seem to have another equipment issue in the break. Am I right or am I wrong?
Issue isn't necessarily the correct word. We knew we would have to make the switch on equipment at some point, so I figured let's just rip off the Band-Aid and get it over with.
Oh, okay. Okay. Good. Now we're in full go. The gas is running now, so we don't have to worry about the rest of the show.
I would say we are settled in now. We are settled in and ready to roll here on Green Bay Game Day.
We haven't talked about it yet. Thanksgiving. I mean,
Yes.
Is this a type of is it a little overrated to you? What is your feeling level when it comes to the Thanksgiving holiday?
Wait, are you asking me about the holiday, or are you asking me about my Packers playing on the holiday?
Let's start with the holiday, then we'll go into the Packers after.
Okay. Thanksgiving is my favorite holiday. Next question.
Really?
Yes.
Is that because of the football? Is that because of the food? Or what's the reasoning on that one?
I think you nailed both of them. I'm a big food guy. I love everything. I'm at my mom's house, as I mentioned earlier. She is grinding in the kitchen up the hallway. I hear her banging pots and pans together. So if you hear some of that, that would be what's going on. As we get the family together here when the Packer games begins at 11:30. Yes, it's the football, it's the food, it's the beverages. I will be indulging quite a bit today alongside my brother, who I don't get the chance to see a ton. So the family, food, and football. Colin Russo, how's that? Put that on a sign.
That's the trifecta right there. And it seems like since you're hanging out here with us that you're not going to be a helping hand in terms of the food preparation.
Well, I am working, so I think I have a pretty fair excuse.
Rest of the day, I don't think you're going to put on your apron the second the show is done. So let me just put it that way. Let's be honest. All right.
Well, we are being honest, and you're absolutely correct. Your assessment of the situation is number one correct, but number two, I saw a video that went a little viral this week of your father yelling about how he doesn't even want to see his kids on Thanksgiving. Did you take that personally?
No, I don't. And it's like, because I understand the point of view. Some people are afraid to admit the bad things about Thanksgiving. And I don't agree with all of those takes in terms of, neglect your in-laws and don't bother me for 12 hours during football Thursday. But to that point, it's your family, it's sort of like you're happy to see them when it starts, and then towards the end of the night you're like, that was a good event, I had a good time, I'm ready to go home. So people kind of play into the fact that it's like this monumental, magical day. It's good because of the football. It's good because of the food. It's also good because of the family. All those three things need to work in order for the holiday to work, in my opinion. You need to have good games. The family needs to be in a good mood, and the food needs to be good. One of the three doesn't work, the holiday kind of quivers a little bit. So you need to make sure that all the three in your trifecta that you listed earlier, you got to make sure that all three of those are operating and functioning properly. That's number one.
So you are not a Packers fan. You are a Jacksonville Jaguars fan, oddly enough. You have 3 games on the slate today. Tell me which one piques your interest most. Is it Packers at Lions at 11:30 on Fox? Is it Commanders at Cowboys, 3:30 on CBS? Or is it the nightcap, 49ers at Seahawks on NBC at 7:20?
Well, that Niners-Seahawks game obviously is the most interesting. But, a lot of these games, especially with the Cowboy games, they had that Bills game a couple years ago that was pretty good. And, that Giant Cowboy game was also a great game a couple years ago as well. But nonetheless, the Cowboys-Commanders, I can't get into it. And I think that's the best slot. That middle game is always the one where you're either or surrounding eating, right before eating, depending on when your Thanksgiving schedule kind of rolls. It's the perfect type of, I guess, slot for a game. And they always get the Cowboys in there with a pretty mediocre opponent. So I could see the Cowboys coming out and absolutely throttling them. That does not pique my interest. That Niner game is the late game. I think the late game is the worst slot for Thanksgiving football.
Agreed.
I think people are a little footballed out. I think people are definitely fooded out a little bit, tired. The night's wrapping up. So in terms of the actual 3 slots, I think it goes the middle slot, the early slot where the Packers are, and the late slot last. But I think that Niners-Seahawks game is the best game there. But the Packers, of course, coming off a big win against the Chargers, that game is a must-watch in my opinion. Yeah. And you're playing on Thanksgiving. That's when everybody watches. 25 million people are going to watch it. So you could feel the energy and you could feel a difference when it's a Thanksgiving game compared to a Spiro Ditas 1 p.m. kickoff.
you always take swipes at Spiro Ditas for no reason. He's a good play-by-play guy.
Oh, he does a good job, but he's done a lot of Jags games when the Jags were 4-11 at Indianapolis in Week 15. So give me a break.
Give me a break. But by the way, for all these games, at least a touchdown spread. Detroit favored by 8.5 over Green Bay. Dallas favored by 13.5 over Washington, and the Niners 7-point favorites against the Seahawks in the nightcap. All right, I wanted to get to this, Colin, because this has gone mega viral this week on X or Twitter, whatever you call it. And it is fascinating to me. So the NFL-AFL merger, Colin, this is a trivia question for you. What year did that take place?
72?
You're late. 1966, the year of the NFL-AFL merger. Good guess, though. And a stat came out that the Detroit Lions, since the NFL-AFL merger when playing on Thanksgiving, are 0-12 when the moon is in a waxing gibbous phase. And today,
is that one day of the cycle, or is that like one piece of the cycle? There's like 8 cycles, right?
I think there's 8 pieces. Tomorrow, or rather today, being the waxing gibbous phase of the cycle. Okay. The Lions 0-12 when the moon is in a waxing gibbous phase on Thanksgiving. Most recently, 3 years ago, November 26th, 2020, the moon was in a waxing gibbous phase on Thanksgiving. The Lions have not won a game on Thanksgiving when the moon is in a waxing gibbous phase on Thanksgiving.
This is from ESPN?
No, this is from a random dude on Twitter who I should probably give credit to.
Because I was about to say
Jay Kuda.
That poor intern who had to go through the history of the moon cycles to find out which game the Lions were playing on, who they played, and what the moon cycle was that day. I pitied that guy. But since this was this guy on his own free will and his own free time, going through the moon cycles, trying to figure out which game the Lions, of all teams, played well on versus which moon cycles they did not play well on. Nonetheless, if this guy a Packer fan, is that number? Did you figure that out?
I don't know.
So if he's a Lions fan,
Chicago,
maybe. If he's a Lions fan, maybe. But if he's a Packer fan, that's trying to find any piece of information that could level up your hype or the mojo of the game.
Here's where my
head's at. Crazy. That's crazy.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. It's a really weird, wacky stat to pull out of nowhere.
They even track that stuff? Oh, my goodness.
I mean, I'd like to look into it for, like, some of the stuff that's happened in my personal life. Like, do I have bad luck on waxing gibbous days? I wonder.
So you're going to go through the moon cycles and all the bad things that have happened?
No, I'm not going to do. I'm not going to relive my trauma. But I will say this: today it is all hail the waxing gibbous and all hail Ellis Merriweather. That's where my head. Like maybe J-Rob. Like I like the James Robinson signing. They brought him in for a workout about a month ago when Aaron Jones was dealing with the hammy, and they signed him to the practice squad. Kept him for like 2 weeks and then cut him, and now they bring him back with all the injuries going on. But I would love a healthy dose of waxing gibbous and Ellis Merriweather here on Thanksgiving.
If it brings any sort of mojo to a game where the Packers are going to need it, why not? Do I think the moon cycle has anything to do with the performance on the football field? No, I don't. I think the Lions have been terrible for a long time, and I'm sure on other moon cycles they have not been good on Thanksgiving either. I'm not sure about 0-12 bad, but I don't think they'll have a great record on any of the moon cycles based on how they've played the last 25 to 30 years. So to put a label to it and connect those dots, I think is crazy. But nonetheless, if it gives that guy a little bit of peace of mind, I'll let him do it.
But one thing you and I have in common is we embrace and enjoy crazy. He's Colin Russo. I'm Alex Strofe. It is Green Bay Game Day. Leading you up to Packers-Lions at 11:30 this morning here at ESPN Wisconsin at 620 WTMJ. It's Thanksgiving, so we have to ask a Thanksgiving question coming up next. Which Packers rookie are you most thankful for now 10 games into the season? Dontavian Wicks, Jaden Reed, Luke Musgrave making the impact on offense. Carl Brooks with a sack last week. On defense, of course, Lucas Van Ness, the first-round pick, hasn't played a ton this year, but he could be your pick. Anders Carlson, the kicker, is a rookie. We'll talk about which rookie we're most thankful for here on Thanksgiving coming up next. It's Green Bay Game Day on 620 WTMJ and ESPN Wisconsin.
We're back with Green Bay Game Day after this on ESPN Wisconsin and with 620 WTMJ.
Adulting in the fall means responsible spiking. For pumpkin spice or whatever your preferred fall drink concoction is, spike it with rum chata. It's a solution for any occasion. Rum chata is the world's finest liqueur featuring premium Caribbean rum combined with vanilla, cinnamon, and the highest quality dairy cream sourced from Wisconsin. Enjoy a smooth shot or a tantalizing spiked beverage with Rum Chata Original. And, backed by popular demand for a limited time, Rum Chata Peppermint Bark. Rum Chata, the superior way to spike and sip responsibly this fall.
Set your game plan for a new baseball season with the 2024 Brewers 4-Pack. Don't wait. Get yours by November 27th to get a 5th game added to your plan for free. That's 4 action-packed plan choices, your first chance at the best seats, and a bonus Brewers game free for early buyers. Plus, each pair of a 4-pack comes with the Brewers Knit Hack. Act now and get this limited time offer at brewers.com/4packs.
From color-changing alexandrite to shimmering zircon and everything in between at Chalmers Jewelers, you'll find high-quality, affordable, one-of-a-kind pieces. We source straight from the gem cutters, and we manufacture in-house from start to finish. As the manufacturer, we believe in truth in pricing. Never pay more for quality and stunning, beautiful jewelry. She's one of a kind, and so should her jewelry be. While others may send your jewelry dreams to someone else to make, with us, your dreams become reality with the help of our custom jewelers, with you involved the whole way. With a staff that has over 200 years of combined experience, why buy from a place that marks up jewelry made by the thousands? When you can buy direct from Chalmers for that one-of-a-kind piece that is better quality, often for less.
Chalmers Jewelers in Middleton
And Madison.
Everywhere you look, from groceries to utilities to gas, prices keep going up. Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin can dramatically help lower your energy costs year-round by replacing drafty windows and doors in as little as 6 weeks. And now you can save even more by taking advantage of no interest and no down payment for up to 36 months when you order by November 30th. Bring the love of Wisconsin's outdoors in through the beauty and quality craftsmanship of Pella Windows and Doors. Whether you're updating remodeling, or upgrading the look and comfort of your home, Pella has extensive lines of customizable options to meet your needs and your budget. Replacing drafty windows and doors can dramatically lower your energy costs. Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin offers some of the most energy-efficient windows in the industry. 0% interest and no down payment for up to 36 months when you order by November 30th. Set your free in-home consultation today at PellaWI.com.
Certain restrictions apply. See showroom for details. Offer ends 11/30/2023.
GAMB to is Green Bay Game Day on ESPN Wisconsin and with 620 WTMJ.
Green Bay Game Day on your Thanksgiving morning rolls on. 620 WTMJ, ESPN Wisconsin, alongside the pride of Connecticut, Colin Russo. I'm Alex Strofe with you from Manitowoc, Wisconsin. Colin, are you familiar with Manitowoc, Wisconsin?
I'm not a big Wisconsin City guy. We've had this conversation in the past. Manitowoc, I have no idea what that is.
So did you ever watch the Netflix documentary Making a Murderer?
Yeah, I didn't watch the whole thing, but I did tune into an episode or two.
So that took place here in Manitowoc, Wisconsin. So there you go. That's probably what the city is best known for.
That's near Milwaukee, correct?
Semi,
okay.
More closer to Green Bay than Milwaukee.
Oh, interesting. That's where it took place? I thought it was in Milwaukee.
Yeah, no, it was in Manitowoc. Stephen Avery, who we're referring to. This is a very happy Thanksgiving Day conversation here on Green Bay Game
What
Day.
are we thankful for?
Well, let's dive into that. We are thankful for the Packers youth movement here at 4-6. Unless you wanted a playoff run this year, then you're probably not super thankful. But I did want to have the conversation around the Packers rookie class because last week especially, there's been a coming out party for several of these Packers rookies, which includes my favorite, who I am most thankful for, wide receiver Jayden Reed, and Colin, who you typically hear on ESPN Wisconsin College Game Day before and after every Badgers game on ESPN Wisconsin. You may remember Jayden Reed from last year's Michigan State overtime loss for the Badgers. Jayden Reed is a wide receiver, both threw and caught a touchdown pass in that game. And the Packers ultimately end up drafting him, and he has made an impact. He was the leading rusher for the Packers in their win over the Chargers last week. He had that cool end-around touchdown run for them last week. You've seen a little bit of that play design drawn up for him this year by head coach Matt LaFleur. But you've also seen him make an impact in the receiving game. He's come along really nice as a mid-round pick. Jayden Reed, the Packers rookie, I'm most thankful for, Colin Russo. But you got other options, right? Like Dontavian Wicks is a guy that's come along and made a really nice impact in that wide receiver room. Jason Wilde, who we'll talk to in the 10 o'clock hour, about an hour from right now, has told me multiple times, Dontavian Wicks, he thinks he's the best receiver on the Packers roster. And Luke Musgrave, the starting tight end, not too shabby either, although he was placed on injured reserve this week. So Colin Russo, I ask you, which Packers rookie are you most thankful for this Thanksgiving?
It's very easy to kind of level off and label the skill positions on offense in Musgrave and Wicks and Reed as the guys you're most thankful for. But, think about situation and context. A position that the Packers thought was a position with a lot of depth coming into the year was the cornerback position. What happens? We talked about it earlier in the show. Jair Alexander, banged up all year, trade away Rasul Douglas in a questionable trade, however you want to look at it, to the Buffalo Bills. And Eric Stokes, who can't get on the field as well, who was a guy who stepped into that, a late-round rookie in Carrington Valentine, a guy who had to learn on the fly, had to kind of step in and replace a lot of production at the position of the guys ahead of him, and a guy who's fared pretty well for the Green Bay Packers so far this year. A guy who plays with a little bit of a lot of confidence, a lot of swagger, and he plays hard, and you can see it on the field. And a couple mistakes here and there, but nothing too glaring. And in terms of one of the hardest, if not the hardest position on the field outside of quarterback in the cornerback position, then I'm going to have to give it to him. He's a guy who stepped in for the Packers, and he sort of kept that defense afloat. If for a mid to average passing defense, a guy like Carrington Valentine has really carried his load in terms of keeping them with their head above water in a lot of these games.
The poll is in the field on Twitter at ESPN Madison. Green Bay GameDay wants to know, which Packers rookie are you most thankful for? My boy Jaden Reed running away with it right now. Over 100 votes, 80% of them have gone the direction of Jaden Reed. About 10% to tight end Luke Musgrave, another 10%-ish, about 8.5% to Dontavian Wicks.
Wow.
And Vaughn chiming in with Carl Brooks. You mentioned Carrington Valentine. That's a 7th-round pick, Colin, who had 3 pass breakups last week against a really good quarterback in Justin Herbert. With that position group, as you mentioned, being very shorthanded throughout the course of this season following the Jair Alexander injuries, plural for that, the back now, the shoulder, and the trade of Rasul Douglas. And I would agree with you, questionable, but youth movement in full effect for the Green Bay Packers. And last week, a 23-20 victory over the Los Angeles Chargers, certainly showing why the youth movement is the move for the Packers. Jaden Reed, by the way, a 2nd-round pick, as was Luke Musgrave for the Packers. So Goody hitting in the 2nd round. Luke Musgrave, Jaden Reed, the 2 2nd-round picks this year for him. Dontavian Wicks, a 5th-round pick out of Virginia. Carl Brooks, a 6th-round pick out of Bowling Green. The other 6th-round pick, the kicker, Durst, my guy, Anders Carlson, who missed both an extra point and a field goal last week against the Chargers.
Is that your guy? I mean, not a great game last week.
No, I mean, have you ever watched the show Workaholics?
I have not.
Okay, so there's a character who is very goofy in that show that goes by Durst. And okay. I just thought, number one, I don't think Anders Carlson personality-wise, maybe there's a question for Rob Domofsky and Jason Wilde, who actually know the guy. I don't know that he's a very goofy personality, but it was, number one, a goofy draft pick, and he had a really goofy preseason and training camp where he was missing kicks worse than anybody's ever seen.
You refer to that as goofy? Goofy?
Yeah, because he didn't let it affect the regular season. He actually started off the season very nicely. Last week was his roughest week of the season so far. Like I mentioned, a missed field goal and a missed extra point for the rookie kicker, Anders Carlson. But damn it, Colin, it's a new era of Packers football, and these rookies are invading the locker room, and they're certainly playing a big role here in 2023. 4-6 record, and heading to Detroit here this Thanksgiving morning. And we're going to see more rookies. I mean, depending on who plays, right? I mentioned Dontavian Wicks, questionable in this one. No Luke Musgrave in this one. I think Jaden Reed's on the injury report. Everybody's on the injury report. Who am I kidding? So
yeah,
we'll see who plays, but I imagine some rookies going to need to step up and show out if the Packers expect to win on the road today.
Yeah, and another thing you got to think of is the Lions. You know, the Lions are coming off a game where they escaped against the Bears. They quivered a little bit again. Second time I've used quivered, by the way.
Yeah, I noticed. You like that
the
word.
Lions. And not the Lions, against the Chargers 2 weeks ago. So now Goff also wasn't great last week. He's pretty good at not stacking bad games. So Goff, that's part of the reason why he's been so good on the Lions is he's not consistently making mistakes. He usually corrects it pretty quickly. He's an experienced vet who's played with a lot of good teams and has always had a good running game when he's at the top of his performance. Today, I imagine that he's going to not want to stack both of those bad games with the week against the Bears last week and then this week home against the Packers. So Goff's a guy that I look for that's going to look to get going pretty early with that running game and also with guys like Laporta and utilizing that play action. The pass defense has got to be ready for that because you're going to have a lot of guys stacking the box to make sure that David Montgomery and Jahmyr Gibbs don't get going. A guy like Valentine or any guy in the pass defense, which has not been very good, are going to need to be prepared when Goff starts to air it out a little bit.
Colin Russo just shredding the Packers defense right now, and rightfully so this Thanksgiving. Fair to say Colin Russo not thankful for Joe Barry this Thanksgiving as the Packers defensive coordinator. I do want to revisit, coming up in a little bit, I do want to revisit the Thursday night matchup from earlier in the year where the Packers made David Montgomery for the 3rd time in his career look like primetime Barry Sanders. So do want to relive that a little bit later, although I want to keep it upbeat and happy this Thanksgiving.
We've done a good job at that.
Yeah, that's us, man. We're optimists in our prime, dude. We are hitting on all cylinders this morning for sure in that regard. But coming up next, we will play Who Do You Trust, presented by Town Bank. Colin and I are going to dive into a position group one by one and decide whether or not we trust these individuals heading into this Thursday night game, or Thursday morning game, rather, against the Detroit Lions. He's Colin Russo. I'm Alex Strofe. It is Green Bay Game Day on your radio here on ESPN Wisconsin at 620 WTMJ.
More Green Bay Game Day coming up on ESPN Wisconsin and 620 WTMJ.
Get your game on at the Island Resort and Casino with first-round picks of your favorite slots and table games. Bring friends and watch your favorite team compete on big screens. Grab Game Day Eats in T. McSee's Sports Bar. Or celebrate your team's victory in Horizon's Steakhouse. To book your game time at the Island Resort and Casino, call 800-682-6040 today.
UW Credit Union presents the Prep Mania Student Athlete of the Week, supporting local student athletes as they grow on the field, in the classroom, and in the community. UW Credit Union is here for every you. Learn more at uwcu.org.
Hi, this is Dennis Semrau from Zimbrick Honda's presentation of Prep Mania here on 100.5 ESPN. We're very excited to partner with UW Credit Union to help bring you even closer to the stories of great young student athletes. Each week, as part of this season of Prep Mania, will feature the UW Credit Union Student Athlete of the Week. UW Credit Union is proud to support local student athletes as they grow on the field, in the classroom, and in the community. And just like the fantastic student athletes we'll be telling you about all season, UW Credit Union's online banking also goes above and beyond with top-rated service and security that exceeds industry standards. UW Credit Union is here for you, presenting the Prep Mania Student Athlete of the Week. Learn more at uwcu.org.
Listen to Wilde and Tausch, presented by Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin on 100.5 ESPN.
I've come to grips that this season's not going to be great. I still think that you're going to be a lot more accurate, and I think we're going to get more than 6 wins. It's going to unfurl.
Wilde and Tausch, weekdays 9 to noon on 100.5 ESPN. Also brought to you by Grassland Dairy, Home and Lindsay Paints, Coors Light, Made to Chill, and American Family Insurance.
It's that time of year where we give thanks to everything we are thankful for. And here at Metro Kia Madison, we are thankful for you, our wonderful community, and our customers. To honor that, Metro Kia Madison is giving you great deals this November. Get into a sporty 2024 Kia Niro for $299 per month for 24 months, with $3,495 due at signing to qualified credit. Great deals are also available on the 2024 Kia Seltos. Search inventory at MetroKiaMadison.com. That's MetroKiaofMadison.com.
Jim Rutledge here to talk to you about North and South Seafood and Smokehouse, the official barbecue joint of Rutledge and Hamilton and the official barbecue joint of the Rutledge household. We love going to all 3 of their locations, whether it's in DeForest, Madison, or in Verona. We get the same great service and food every time we go, no matter the location. Even better, when we have parties, cookouts, or anything in between, I don't have to spend all my time over the grill. Instead, I give a call to the folks at North and South Seafood and Smokehouse. So hurry in to North and South Seafood and Smokehouse, the official barbecue joint of Rutledge and Hamilton and the official barbecue joint of the Rutledge household.
Game Day on ESPN Wisconsin and 620 WTMJ.
Green Bay Game Day rolling on alongside Colin Russo. I'm Alex Strofe with you here on 620 WTMJ, ESPN Milwaukee, and ESPN Madison. Colin, I just want to take this opportunity, number one, to say happy Thanksgiving to you. I hope you have a lovely day.
Thank you, Strofe. It's funny that it took us 45 minutes to get to that point on the most thankful day of the year.
Yeah.
Where everybody's supposed to be nice to each other, and it's the high fives, and it's, I'm thankful for what you do. You and I instead just went after the Packer defense. We brought up of making a murderer. We've done a couple things.
Talked about waxing gibbous moon phases.
Moon phases. Clearly you have your thing with moon phases. We'll adjust that later on. But nonetheless, It took us 45 minutes to get to this point. Happy Thanksgiving to you as well. I hope you have a wonderful day of friends, food, and football. The trifecta of the holiday.
Yeah, I feel like Live, Laugh, Love needs an upgrade. Family, food, football. I know I'm at my mom's house, as I mentioned. She definitely has some live, laugh, love stuff hanging up in this house. I'm going to grab a bottle of spray paint and change it to the 3 Fs. But also, Colin, I do want to acknowledge there are 3 people behind the scenes working this Thanksgiving morning, helping us be on the air across the state of Wisconsin and making us sound good. So a big thanks to our producer, Max Meyerson, as always, who we'll hear from a little bit later in the show, but also to Greg Hill and Hunter Vaughn across these stations, keeping us on the air. Happy Thanksgiving to you fellas. Appreciate you working hard and hanging out with us this morning as we lead you up to kickoff between the Packers and the Lions. All right, time now to get into Who Do You Trust, which is presented by Town Bank. Stop banking the same way and expecting different results. Start earning more today. Go to townbank.us/locknewrates or visit a Town Bank branch nearest you today. Bank differently with Town Bank. Member FDIC, an equal housing lender. So today on Who Do You Trust, I want to do a little bit different of a what's the right way to phrase this? I want to do kind of a temperature check of the wide receiver position because it's very young. It's I believe the youngest wide receiver group in the league. Second-year guys, rookies, making big impacts through 10 weeks. Who do we trust on the wide receiving core for the Green Bay Packers? I want to start with the one that will definitely take us the longest, and that would be the guy who we thought was the number one receiver entering this season. That would be Christian Watson. Colin, Christian Watson with a touchdown catch against the Chargers last week. Started the year injured, been kind of MIA when he's played, scores a touchdown last week. Jordan Love has talked a ton about him and talking about, I need to keep his confidence high. It's just a couple of games of a slump. He's still the best receiver, blah, 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 blah. Do you trust Christian Watson as it stands 10 games through his sophomore season?
I think he's one of those players where people ride on the potential a little too long. Until we get a sense of consistent production, no, I'm going to say I don't trust Christian Watson. And we know he's got all the talent in the world, and we know he could fly down the field vertically. And, he has his issues with his catching, but the best ability is availability and consistency. So you got to make sure you're on the field and also that offense notices you on the field. And, with young receiving room, like you said, there's not a lot of guys that are space fillers and on the defense that are going to require that much attention. So because of that, it's not an easy position for him. But nonetheless, in terms of trust, I don't know how many guys in that receiver room are worthy of that tag because it's a different guy every week. You go here 1 week, you go to Wicks here, you go to Reed here, you go to Watson there. You're jumping around a little bit on who's productive, and that's a good thing. It makes them a little unpredictable, and they don't know who's really going to be the difference maker. But because of that, there's not a week-in, week-out guy that the Packers can consistently rely on, in my opinion.
Well, I would throw the name Romeo Doubs out there, who I feel like has been the most consistent receiver here in 2023. Obviously had the big start against Chicago in week number 1, and it seemed pretty consistent throughout. Obviously, this Packers offense hasn't been terribly consistent throughout the course of this year as a whole, so it's hard to look at consistency at the wide receiver position and just count on it and rely on it because you're not dealing with Jordy Nelson or Devontae Adams anymore, right? You don't have a top 5, top 3 receiver in the league, depending on what year we're talking about. So, yeah, you're right about that. And Christian Watson it's certainly been the curious case of Christian Watson this season. It's a guy who I want to trust. I just don't know that I do, right? Like, I'm going to try to make this a relationship analogy, and it's not going to work, but I'm going to try it anyway.
This should be good.
It always is with me. I would say, like, Christian Watson is a guy where he's maybe ghosted you a few times. Right, so you had a date.
So were the girls in this situation?
Well, whatever. I mean, I don't think.
Or guys, of course.
Yeah, I don't think it really matters. So you've got dates. You've got dates set on, right? So you Thursday night at the movie theater, I'll meet you there, and you end up attending the movie by yourself. But Christian Watson has a really good excuse. Right, so he's like, yes, I'm sorry, I should have communicated this earlier, but this came up.
What is the really good excuse in this situation?
It's an analogy, Colin. Just let it fly, all right? It's just an analogy.
I understand the movie situation. Now, I was following until the great excuse. How many great excuses are there when you miss the last 4 of the last 6 movies? If you're shooting 25% on the movies you actually make versus you miss, there's only so many excuses that get you out of the movie.
Well, maybe Christian's saying, hey, man, sorry, my pops just tweeted something, and I'm in hot water with the organization. I needed to show my dad how to delete a tweet, right? So that's the really good excuse. Of course, Christian Watson's pops tweeted out some stuff about the Packers offense a couple weeks ago that got him in some hot water. So I don't know what the really good excuse is, but Christian Watson I want to trust. I don't think I do as it stands right now. That doesn't mean he can't regain my trust. Romeo Doubs I do trust. Jaden Reed I trust.
You already trust Jaden Reed this early on.
Okay, but you have to understand, and I talked about this earlier this week on Mr. Irrelevant, my podcast that you can find wherever you get your podcasts. I think Jaden Reed is officially in a special category of Packers players for me. So there's only been a few like this. Jair Alexander is the one on the current roster that falls into this category as well, where when I tweet about them, I kind of throw out X's and O's. I just tweet stuff like, I love this guy. Ty Montgomery is the best other example of this. And I think Jaden Reed, he may be already, but he will be better than Ty Montgomery was during his tenure with the Packers. I just loved Ty Montgomery, and I loved the way he was utilized in the Packers offense. And I think Jaden Reed will fill that role for me now, where he'll be like the player I just constantly gush over. And it's been that way since the Packers drafted him. I think it helps he was part of that Michigan State team and the Michigan State win over Wisconsin last year, where I got to see him up close and personal. But anyway.
So you've already labeled – I think it's tough to put, especially at the receiver position. I think putting a rookie into the trust category is risky waters. But just because you love him doesn't mean that I think he's worthy of a trust label at any position other than the quarterback. Trust, like offensive line, they got to figure it out. Running backs, that's sort of situational. A receiver, there's a level of trust that's more than the rest of the offense, or more than the rest of the team for that is at that position in terms of what type of player that person is. Trust, it's consistency, it's availability, it's not making a boneheaded rookie mistake. I don't know if I would. You seem to like Jaden Reed, like it's one of your guys, so maybe that's leaning you in a direction. Yeah. But nonetheless, I think that Jaden Reed is a guy that's definitely going to work his way towards that, but I don't know if I would declare that as of right now.
So I got to be honest with you. I'm getting a little distracted. I'm using my phone to connect to the show today. So it's right in my face whenever we get a text message. And one big doofus has been consistently texting us throughout the show this morning. That doofus, better known as Benjamin Brust, who you hear weekdays 2 to 5 on Kyle Brust and Nortman. He has said the following. Driving to St. Louis, you respond, Colin, keep your eyes on the road. Then he says, if I don't get a shout out, I'm done. Don't trust is the only answer for Watson. Bruce the dog fights for balls more than Christian. And then he follows that up with analogy, 1.5 out of 10. I thought it was better than a 1.5, Colin. Thought I was deserving of a better grade.
I understand the analogy if you're using somebody else in a different situation. But with Christian Watson and his production so far this far into his career, I would say that it is not applicable to what we've seen out of Christian Watson. Is that fair?
Yeah, I think that is fair. I would agree. Look, you know what they say. You miss 100% of the shots you don't take. We're doing 3 hours of radio this morning. We're talking about whether or not we trust Christian Watson. I was trying to make it a little bit more digestible for the average bird. I don't think I did that, but that's okay. He's Colin Russo. I'm Alex Strofe. It is Green Bay Game Day. Coming up next, we relive some trauma. We revisit the Thursday night loss for the Packers earlier in the year against the Detroit Lions. How can Jordan Love and the offense improve on that dud of a game 2 months ago at Lambeau Field? We'll talk about it next. It's Green Bay Game Day on ESPN Wisconsin at 620 WTMJ.
Stay right here. Green Bay Game Day will be right back on ESPN Wisconsin and 620 WTMJ.
Buckle up. It's all systems go at Potawatomi. Plug in to high wattage play and you could win an all-electric BMW i7. Play now through September with your club card. Prize drawings on Thursdays. There's a shocking $800,000 in total prizes on the line, including the luxury BMW i7. It's time to electrify your drive. Only at Potawatomi Casino Hotel. More info at paysbig.com/BMW. Must be 21 years old and a club member to play.
LabCorp Clinical Trials is changing to a new name, Fortrea. While the name may be different, Fortrea combines decades of great experience and professionalism with new opportunities for clinical trial participation. It's more than a mission and more than a new name. Fortrea is dedicated to moving healthcare forward. To learn more about the future of healthcare and upcoming clinical trials, visit us at FortreaClinicalTrials.com. That's FORTREA clinicaltrials.com.
Hey, Drew Scott here, and I'm Jonathan Scott, reminding you that life's better with a home policy from American Family Insurance. They can help you get just the right protection at just the right price and help you save when you bundle home and auto. Kind of like Goldilocks and the Three Bears. It'll be just right for you. We love a custom build. American Family Insurance. Insure carefully, dream fearlessly. Get a quote and find an agent at amfam.com.
Products not available in every state. Visit amfam.com to learn how discounts may apply to you. American Family Mutual Insurance Company, SI, and its operating company, 6000 American Parkway, Madison, Wisconsin.
That to-do list you have needs one more thing. Chill. It's an easy thing to do. Just crack open an ice-cold Coors Light and chill. Take the afternoon off and binge watch anything. Go to happy hour and stay for a couple hours. Who's counting anyways? Or hang out with just your dog, because you've had enough human interaction this week. Whatever you do, do it with a Coors Light. Mountain cold refreshment made to chill. 2020 Coors Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado. Celebrate responsibly.
It's all about the green and gold and nonsense on Kyle, Brust, and Nortman.
Is that a compliment?
I don't know. I mean, there are some aspects of Judge Judy that you might be able to shed a positive light on. I don't know.
Successful.
Help me something. Yeah.
She's successful. I don't like how you guys are pausing right now.
Judge Judy was known for eviscerating people on TV.
Kyle, Brust, and Nortman. Presented by Bud Light. Weekdays from 2 till 4 on 100.5 ESPN and Wisconsin On Demand.
Fleet Farm's got everything you need for everyday life. And by everything, we mean top products by your favorite brands. From Blackstone to Blue Buffalo, Carhartt to Cooper, Milwaukee to Muddy, Scott's to Science Diet, DeWalt, Levi's, Purina, Husqvarna, Goodyear, Rapala, Vortex, and a whole lot more. In-store or online, check out all the brands Fleet Farm carries to help make your everyday life better.
Welcome back to Green Bay Game Day on ESPN Wisconsin and 620 WTMJ.
Where blind men see. This has been stuck in my head all morning. The Creed meme, Colin Russo, Alex Strofe with you here on Green Bay Game Day on ESPN Wisconsin, 620 WTMJ. The meme has been in my head all morning of Creed playing halftime of the Cowboys Thanksgiving game probably 15 years ago. Do you know what I'm referring to, Colin?
The meme or the performance?
Both of the above.
No, I'm not familiar.
I'll tell you what, you've missed out. Creed should play halftime of every Thanksgiving. Yeah, okay. I mean, how old were you 15 years ago?
Okay, so we're going to do the math here. 21 minus 15, so 6 years old.
I was 10. I mean, it's just a core memory. So there you go. All right, Colin Russo, Alex Strofe with you. Leading up to Lions-Packers, 11:30 kickoff in Detroit this morning. Lions 8-2, Packers 4-6. But we'll hit the rewind button. We bring you back to week 4 of the NFL season when the Packers and Lions played another Thursday game, a Thursday night game at Lambeau Field. Halftime score, 27-3 Lions.
In a game where the Packers started up 3-0. The Lions scored 27 unanswered in that first half. There's a complete disaster in the first half, too. Yeah, I mean, you're thinking about it. The Packers, I think the first drive was an interception, too, if I remember correctly. And then they get a field goal. All of a sudden, you're feeling pretty good at home. And then run the ball. Goff makes a play here. It's exactly what you worried about what could happen today. So hopefully you get a little bit of the Lions don't necessarily need the game as much as the Packers. And you can catch them in a funk like they were against the Bears for the first half last week. So because of that, that's as bad as it gets in terms of a game and how you played in that first half. That's as bad as it gets. Anything better than that, I think you got to be okay with because the Lions are a pretty damn good team. But nonetheless, that was a disaster in that first half. That was as ugly of a first half as the Packers have had all year.
Oh, it was the ugliest by far. Yeah, 27-3 at halftime, 27 unanswered points the Packers defense allowed in that Thursday night game at Lambeau Field. But you mentioned it, and I say this every week because I kind of mean it as a joke, but I really don't. David Montgomery is one of 4 running backs over the course of the last 20 years to have 3 or more 100-yard games against the Packers. He joins the likes of Adrian Peterson, for Pete's sake, with having a reputation of slashing the Packers. In that game, he went for 32 carries, 121 yards, and 3 touchdowns. That was joined by 90 other yards for a total of 211 rushing yards the Lions ran all over the Packers with in week 4. And that was the same number in week 2 that the Packers allowed against the Atlanta Falcons, 211 yards on the ground. This run defense is not very good, especially when they're playing middle-of-the-pack running backs like David Montgomery is. You saw it with Jalen Warren a couple weeks ago against the Pittsburgh Steelers. These guys that just become epic running backs because they're playing the Packers defense. And I imagine we'll probably see more of the same today, not to be too negative on this Thanksgiving morning.
And David Montgomery is a weird situation of a guy that's in a perfect situation. And he's very good between the tackles. He runs pretty hard. And, you know, the Lions' offensive line is pretty much as good as it gets in the NFL at the moment. So, in terms of a team that has an identity, I don't think none is stronger or more concrete than what the Lions try to do. They try to play you really tough. They got a quarterback who knows how to manage a game, and they got a running attack that is relentless. 32 carries. That is an egregious amount to hand to one running back when you have very viable backups behind him. But they're gonna grind you down, and that's their philosophy. That's been their identity since Dan Campbell has taken over. They're gonna go for it on 4th down when they need to. They're gonna close out a game when they get a chance, and that's just how they operate. So in terms of the running attack, that I expect to see a little more of the same to start the game for them today.
Biting kneecaps, the fighting Dan Campbells, the Detroit Lions, and the Green Bay Packers kicking off 2 hours from right now, 11:30 a.m. kick at Ford Field in Detroit. I'd like to make one quick amendment, by the way. The Creed performance, halftime of a Dallas Cowboys Thanksgiving game. 2001, Colin, that was before you were born.
Well, you're a little off on that. So this is another performance we're talking about?
No, this is the one I'm referring to. It was 22 years ago.
So you said it was a core memory when you were 10 years old, yet you were
3?
So did we just make this up?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, maybe it's just gotten second run on the internet, and I've seen a ton of it.
Maybe. Clearly not that core of a memory for you, if we're getting the years and your ages wrong.
Well, like a guy that will certainly remember it. It will join us next. ESPN NFL Nation reporter Rob Domofsky, who covers the Green Bay Packers for ESPN.com and ESPN, will join us next from Detroit. We'll talk injury bug. We'll talk Jordan Love. We'll talk stopping the run. More of that next as we roll on into hour number 2 of the program. Rob Domofsky joins us next. He's Colin Russo. I'm Alex Strofe. It's Green Bay Game Day on ESPN Wisconsin at 620 WTMJ on your Thanksgiving morning.
We're back with Green Bay Game Day after this on ESPN Wisconsin and with 620 WTMJ.
Football fans, tailgating season is here, and if you want to win at tailgating, you need to Boatify your beverage choice. Boaterbox wine is the ultimate addition to your tailgate party. This premium wine comes in a box, so it fits perfectly in your cooler or trunk, and there's no heavy glass or corkscrew to deal with. One 3-liter Boaterbox is equivalent to 4 regular bottles of wine, so it's great for sharing. Bring the wine that wins with Wine Critics Boaterbox. This is how we Boda. Please drink responsibly. Must be 21 or over. Boaterbox Vineyards, Manteca, California.
Ever wonder how the best athletes find the power to jump higher, cut quicker, skate smoother, drive farther, and stick the landing? At Prevea Orthopedics in Green Bay, we know power starts with the hips. That's why Dr. Michael Ryan and our team of experts provide comprehensive and advanced expertise in hip care, unlike anywhere else. Come to Prevea Orthopedics and Sports Medicine, where we can preserve your hips so you can pursue your goals. Prevea Orthopedics, specializing in you.
ESPN Madison is on Wisconsin Sports. Catch up on anything you missed on the Varsity Podcast on Wisconsin On Demand. Brought to you by Zimbrick Honda, a proud supporter of Wisconsin Badger Athletics. If you're looking to purchase, finance, or service a new or pre-owned Honda, shop local, part of the Madison community since 1973.
Big trailers and big opportunity. Since 1962, Stoughton Trailers has been a family-owned and operated business. With competitive wages and excellent benefits, plus growth and advancement opportunities, Stoughton Trailers is an exciting place to grow your career. Join the collaboration, innovation, and dynamic team atmosphere at Stoughton Trailers, with positions now open in production, operations, finance, sales, engineering, supply chain, and more. Go to stojobs.com to apply today. Stoughton Trailers, big opportunity.
Hi, I'm Madison Money Guy, Christian Finfrock with Retirement Income Strategies. And what sets us apart is we're an independent, family-run office. We help clients like you understand the financial world and build a portfolio that's in your best interest. To learn more, go to MadisonMoneyGuy.com.
Hi, this is former Badger Pro Football Hall of Famer Joe Thomas. You're listening to 100.5 ESPN WTLX Monona, Madison. Good Karma Brands radio station.
Green Bay Game Day rolls on your Thanksgiving morning alongside the pride of Connecticut, Colin Russo. I'm Alex Strofe in Manitowoc, Wisconsin. We're going to add a third state to the mix now. We go to Detroit, Michigan, and Ford Field, where we are joined by a state champion father, a state champion reporter. He covers the Packers for ESPN's NFL Nation. He is our friend Rob Demovsky, joining us now on Green Bay Game Day. Happy Thanksgiving, Rob. Are you thankful to be in Detroit, Michigan?
Yeah, I guess you could say that, Alex. I'll let you know after we eat the pregame meal, though. I'm not crazy about Thanksgiving dinner or whatever you want to call it at 10 o'clock in the morning or whatever time it is. So, but yeah, I guess it's just kind of like a Thursday in the NFL.
Rob, how are you going to handle this? Is this treated like a big time meal day, or is this just going to be just another day in the office if it's Thanksgiving and you're at Ford Field?
Yeah, I mean, I think, Colin, it's just another day at the office, really. And I was thinking about it. It seems for a while like every other year the Packers played here on Thanksgiving. But they haven't played here since 2013. But I think before that, if you go back, it was like every other year from about 2007 to 13. But it just kind of feels like another NFC North road game at Detroit.
Rob, we were looking at a graphic earlier in the show that showed since the AFL-NFL merger, the Lions are 0-12 on Thanksgiving when the moon is in a waxing gibbous phase. I don't know what to make of that, but I think that means the Packers are going to win today, right?
Well, don't mess with a streak, I guess. I had not heard that one. There were a few interesting little nuggets. One of which I tweeted earlier was that this is the first time since I think 1991 that the Lions were 4 wins better than the Packers when they played in a season.
Wow.
So yeah, that year I believe the Lions were 10-4 and entering the game, and the Packers were 3-11. Now it's not quite that extreme this year, but there's a lot of things that are just different about Detroit and this team right now. It's a little bit of an unusual thing to get used to, but I think we're going to have to just get used to it, at least for this year, that the Lions are definitely a different bunch than they've been in the past.
You're completely right, Rob, about the Lions being a different bunch, but we're like Strofe and I were talking about earlier in the show, the Packers coming off a good win nonetheless, but the injury bug has hit this team like an absolute train in the past few days. Coming on a short week, you don't necessarily get a chance to rehab. You're going right back out there, and you're playing a very physical team on the road. This injury bug going on, for the Packers here, is this going to be a little reminiscent of what we saw 2 months ago with the Lions just running down their throat and the Packers run out of gas? Or is this injury bug going to be something that the Packers can kind of rally back from? What are your thoughts on that?
Well, I'm glad you mentioned the word physical, because that's exactly what happened in Week 4, and really what the Lions have done when they've won games this year. It's just out-physical teams. Now, I guess if there's a silver lining to the injuries right now, they're not at the positions where you would say, okay, it's physical, right? The Packers' offensive line is fairly healthy. Obviously, they don't have David Bakhtiari, haven't had him all year except for Week 1. But their offensive line, they're pretty much intact. The defensive front looks pretty good. The outside linebackers, we'll see about Devondre Campbell. I believe he will play. But they should be okay up the middle, where you would see the physical nature of the Lions take hold. Now, on the flip side, the running game, obviously the Packers would like to try to run the ball, but without Aaron Jones and basically with one running back who was on the roster last week in A.J. Dillon, maybe they don't try to run the ball. Maybe they don't challenge them physically and they try to do some things in the short passing game. But at least from a physical standpoint, the Packers are okay in the big people department.
Well, you mentioned the running back room, talking with Rob Demovsky here on Green Bay Game Day, ESPN NFL Nation reporter covering the Packers. You mentioned the running game. A.J. Dillon listed as questionable on the textbook long injury report. The Packers obviously adding James Robinson, Patrick Taylor, Ellis Merriweather on the practice squad. Are we going to see, do you think, a healthy dose of some of those guys, or do you anticipate what you just said, Rob, which is more short passes and a lot more Jordan Love slinging the pill?
Well, Dylan is expected to play, and he was talking this week like there were really no issues. I was, I guess, mildly surprised that they listed him as questionable, but he is expected to play. And Patrick Taylor is an interesting guy because, they just signed him on Monday, but, he was here for how many years, right? He knows this offense inside and out. Played in 4 games this year, 3 as a practice squad elevation, 1 that they actually signed him to the roster and then released him after that. So, it's not like they have a guy back there who's completely inexperienced. But I do think that they're going to have to do some things differently on the offensive side of the ball. And maybe it's more screen passes. Maybe it's swing passes, finding ways to get the ball into Dylan and Taylor's hands that aren't just your traditional handoff or toss plays, because you have to try to run the ball a little bit. Otherwise, you can't become one-dimensional, which is kind of what we saw when they got behind early in week 4, is that they kind of became one-dimensional. So that's definitely an area to keep an eye on today. I'm just not sure how much they can run the ball against these guys.
And Rob, you're talking about the fear of getting into a one-dimensional game. That's exactly what happened the first time around. 12 rushes, 27 yards for the Packers, and then against 43 carries for over 200 yards for the Lions last time. I'm going to be straight with you. Like, what for a team that needs the game to stay in the thick of a hunt within the wild card that the Packers can be? What needs to go right today? Do they need Jordan Love to play the game of his career? Do they need the Lions to kind of fall asleep at the wheel a little bit and bleed a little bit like we saw the last 2 weeks against the Lions, against the Chargers and the Bears? What needs to go right for the Packers really to stay in the hunt of this game?
Yeah, Colin, the answer to both those questions is yes. They need both of those things, and probably a nice Keyshawn Nixon kickoff return too. Now, look, maybe they can get the Lions to give the ball up a little bit. I mean, they got to create some turnovers. You'd like to see, Rashawn Gary or Preston Smith or somebody make a big play, a strip sack or something like that. You'd like to see Kenny Clark or somebody strip the ball in the run game. The other thing too is, and I don't have the stats in front of me, but the Lions aren't exactly a big takeaway team. I think they might only have. I looked at it earlier this week. I think they only have 8 interceptions, which isn't, it's right in about the middle of the league. So it's not like they're a huge takeaway team. So if you can avoid turnovers, I think all that rolled together gives them a chance to compete. And it's interesting because the Lions have not been, they have not been dominant the last couple of weeks. They pulled games out against the Chargers and Bears, but they have not done it in dominating fashion.
8 interceptions, 4 fumble recoveries for the Lions defense, Rob. 12 takeaways in total for Dan Campbell's defense. It's a really interesting game, and I'll get your game pick in a second, but it's also Thanksgiving, Rob, and we were reminiscing to the great year of 2001 before Colin Russo was born, when Creed performed halftime for the Dallas Cowboys. I called it a core memory for me before I realized I was 3 years old when that occurred. Do you remember that halftime performance for Creed, Rob? Do you know what I'm referring to when I bring that up?
Did the Packers play on that day, or was that was that a different?
No, I think it was Cowboys Washington.
Okay, then I do not remember it.
Are you a Creed fan, Rob? I feel like you are.
I wouldn't say I am. I'm a fan of the genre of music, the grunge rock type scene, but not necessarily Creed.
Oh, so you're telling us that you're a Nickelback fan without saying it directly?
No, that Nickelback, they were here. I remember that. They were here in Detroit, and it was awful. They are terrible.
Are you familiar with the musical workings of Jack Harlow, who will be performing halftime of the Packers-Lions game?
I got to be honest with you. I had never heard of him when that was announced a couple months ago. So I love live music, and I'm going to watch.
Good. I'm happy to hear that. All right. Prediction time.
I hope it's really live and not lip synced or anything like that.
Yeah, I wouldn't
bank on that. I wouldn't bank on that, Rob.
Okay, well, that's disappointing.
Prediction time. It's been about 2 months since the Packers got beat down at Lambeau Field by the Detroit Lions. It's the first opportunity we get to see Jordan Love against the same team twice in a season. Rob Demovsky, how does it play out today in your eyes?
I think the line that last I looked was 7.5. Is that still what it is?
That is still correct.
I would probably take the Lions minus 7.5, but I think it could be under 10. I think the Packers will be competitive. I don't think they come out of here with a win, though. I think the Lions win by 8 to 9 points.
Yeah, I think I'm in the same camp as you, Rob. Enjoy your Thanksgiving. Safe travels. We always appreciate catching up with you, my friend. Be good, Rob.
All right, you too, guys. Have a great day.
That's Rob Demovsky, ESPN NFL Nation reporter. You can read him, ESPN.com, getting you ready for all things green and gold. You can also follow him on Twitter, at Rob Demovsky. The reason I brought up Creed and Nickelback, by the way, is because back in 2016, Rob tweeted about Creed and Nickelback. So that's what I was trying to – 7 years of research done here by the Alex Strofe Research Institute.
You did the research. That was Rob Demovsky. You said tweeted something about that?
Yes, he tweeted about Creed and Nickelback in 2016.
So he tweeted something about that. You went 7 years down the drain to find a Twitter thing, a mention of Nickelback and Creed, and you didn't bother to check when the performance was that you were referring to that was a core memory for you. You didn't bother to check what year that was?
No, I just figured I knew.
No.
I thought it was like 2008, 2009.
So for those who are listening, the very host of this program, I'll run you through what his pregame preparation is. He checks what moon cycle it is. He checks the record of the team that is playing on that moon cycle. He checks Rob Demovsky's mentions of Nickelback and Creed. That's number 2. And then number 3, he walks in. He doesn't have a power cord. He's a complete disaster. So Strofe, on this beautiful Thanksgiving day, when the Packers are actually playing, the host of this very program is as lost as they come. I just wanted to get that out there.
Wow. All right, Max, turn off his mic, please, as we roll on. It's Green Bay Game Day. We'll, again, revisit that game from earlier in the season, week 4, as the Lions beat the Packers. But also talking about Jordan Love's progression. He's come along the last couple of weeks. How can he show up and show out and try to leave Ford Field with a victory today as the Packers and Lions kick off the Turkey Day festivities? 11:30 kickoff coming up this morning. He's Colin Russo. I'm Alex Strofe. We continue next. It's Green Bay Game Day on ESPN Wisconsin at 620 WTMJ.
Stay right here. Green Bay Game Day will be right back on ESPN Wisconsin and 620 WTMJ.
WTMJ's Vince Vitrano here. A couple years ago, my knee was acting up. As an athlete, I've played through pain before, but it was getting to the point where I couldn't compete in the sports I loved. I decided to check out Orthopedic Associates of Wisconsin. It's the best decision I've made. I felt no pressure to have surgery. That was important to me. We had choices. I ultimately did choose to have a procedure. I was in and out in just hours and back in action shortly after. I recommend meeting their doctors. Visit orthowisconsin.com today.
Buckle up. It's all systems go at Potawatomi. Plug in to high wattage play and you could win an all-electric BMW i7. Play now through September with your club card. Prize drawings on Thursdays. There's a shocking $800,000 in total prizes on the line, including the luxury BMW i7. It's time to electrify your drive. Only at Potawatomi Casino Hotel. More info at paysbig.com/BMW. Must be 21 years old and a club member to play.
If you love to travel, Capital One has a rewards credit card that's perfect for you. With Venture X, earn unlimited double miles on everything you buy and turn everyday purchases into extraordinary trips. Plus, receive premium travel benefits like access to over 1,300 airport lounges where you just check in and chill out. Open up a world of possibilities with Capital One. What's in your wallet?
Terms apply. Lounge access is subject to change. See CapitalOne.com for details.
My season's bouncing up a wall. The Marvel Spider-Man 2 official video game soundtrack is out now. Featuring Swing, performed by Grammy and BET Award nominee artist Earth Gang, and featuring Benji. Produced by Oscar and Grammy Award winner D-Mile. Be sure to check out the most anticipated game of the year, Marvel Spider-Man 2. Available only on PlayStation 5 now.
We can go pound for pound. We can go round for round.
If you want a fresh twist on surf and turf, look
Look no further than North and South Seafood and Smokehouse. Inspired by their time living in the Alaskan Gulf in southern Texas, owners Keith and Aaron brought together unique culinary backgrounds to create a truly authentic American restaurant here in Madison. After expanding to 2 more locations in DeForest and Verona, you can savor smoky, wood-fired barbecue and freshly prepared seafood from around the country. Explore their full menu and dining options at eatnorthandsouth.com. That's eatnorthandsouth.com.
Hey, it's Alex Strofe. What gets lost in the middle of football season is the fact that the holidays are going to sneak up on you. So while you're thinking of it, there's no better place to go than Condon Jewelers, the jeweler on the east side, the jeweler on your side. Diamond Jim, the owner of the store, is in the store every single day, 7 days a week, ready to help you, whether you're looking to take that next step or you just need to treat your special someone or yourself. There's no better place to do it than with Jim at Condon Jewelers, the jeweler on the east side, the jeweler on your side. Visit them online, condonjeweler.com. That's condonjeweler.com. Or pop in today on the east side of Madison.
Welcome back to Green Bay Game Day on ESPN Wisconsin and 620 WTMJ.
Might even cut my hair and change my name, 'cause we all just wanna be big rock stars and living in.
The Packers looking to be rock stars. It's Chad Kroger of Nickelback sings us in Detroit today, kicking off the Thanksgiving football festivities against the 8-2 Detroit Lions this morning at 11:30. Alongside the pride of Connecticut, Colin Russo, I'm Alex Strofe with you on ESPN Wisconsin at 620 WTMJ. Just moments ago, Colin, from our buddy Rob Domofsky, who we just caught up with, tweeting that Jared Goff is 5-1 in the regular season against the Green Bay Packers, tied for the 3rd best winning percentage by a starting quarterback versus Green Bay since 1950.
Who were the first 2? Did he list those?
He did not. I'd be very curious to see who it is, though. Maybe I'll shoot him a text here and see if he can get that information for us before the program wraps up. But that is a wild stat.
And Goff's it's a weird position with him because nobody really considers him to be a top-tier quarterback. But what he is he's a winner. And he's been blessed with good positions and where he's been in good situations. But nonetheless, he knows how to win games. This is a guy who's been to a Super Bowl. So
he was the number 1 overall pick, right?
It's not fair to. I think he gets a little too much flack, to be honest.
No, I agree with you. I think Jared Goff is a good quarterback, and I think Packers fans would be really happy if he was the guy under center right now for the Packers. But regardless, the Packers now in a figuring out situation with their quarterback position, right? Jordan Love has come on the last couple of weeks, and it seems like he is making progress in the right direction. Now, we'll talk with Jason Wilde in about 10 minutes, but he always says it. Growth is not linear. However, it has been the last 3 weeks, it seems, for Jordan Love. 2 weeks ago against the Los Angeles Rams, has a good game. They win 20-3. 2 weeks ago in Pittsburgh, he has a good game, but has 2 bad interceptions, but makes some of his best throws as the starting quarterback of the Green Bay Packers. Some of those wow throws that Jason Wilde dubbed in the preseason and training camp, those popped off the page a couple of times against the Pittsburgh Steelers despite the loss and the 2 interception performance. And then he follows that up with his best game as a Green Bay Packer last week against the Los Angeles Chargers. 300-yard game, the first for the Packers in 31 games, as well as a couple of touchdowns. For him, the offense gets creative, gets in their bag a little bit. Jaden Reed on an end-around rushing touchdown as well for the Packers offense in their win over the Chargers last week. So I would say the progression is certainly encouraging. I'm just not sure how much stock you can put into it quite yet. Obviously, you want to see Jordan Love stack success, and he has another opportunity to do that today.
I disagree with you that you can't put too much stock into it because I think the Packers are in a peculiar position. Number one, they banked on Jordan Love to sit back, read and do and think everything Rodgers for 3 years, and when he gets a chance to play, to put it together and to put it together fast. The Packers have now put themselves in a position where they're going to have a decision to make on what to do and how to handle the quarterback position going into the offseason. In a quarterback-heavy draft and with some veteran free agents out and about, they're going to need to make a decision on whether to retain and pay Jordan Love or to move in a different direction. So I don't think the Packers have a choice. Them and the fans, the people watching the games, are going to have to put a lot of stock into this. Jordan Love is going to need fast and capable progression because he has no choice. At the end of the day, he's playing for his career. He's playing for his career in the green and gold. So I agree. In terms of what you've seen the last 3 weeks, a lot better than what you saw in the middle of the year. You had five straight games with interceptions, so now you're seeing an upward spiral. Hopefully he can continue at because he needs to.
Yeah, I would say this, though. I think right now as it stands, morning of November 23rd, 2023, you feel much better about Jordan Love's chances as the starting quarterback of the Packers than you did, say, September 23rd of 2023, specifically what he's shown the last 3 weeks against the Rams, Steelers, and Chargers. And today is a big opportunity, right? I mentioned it at the beginning of the show, Colin, but I view the first opportunity to see Jordan Love against a defense for a second time gives us a really good gauge of how he's progressed and come along over the course of the last 2 months. Because straight up, they got their asses kicked in that Thursday night game against Detroit in week number 4. Here now in week 12, week 11, week 12 of the season, that the Packers have a really good opportunity, and specifically Jordan Love has a really good opportunity to show us how he's improved. How have you gotten better? How do you respond to getting your butt whooped on your home field 2 months ago? This is a really good opportunity to tell us as fans where Jordan Love is in terms of his progress and his growth throughout the season, and season number 1, a crucial one, as the starter of the Green Bay Packers.
I think to your point, I think it's a good measuring spot of where he is in terms of his progression. But I think you're going to see a lot of what Jordan Love has in terms of guts. I think Jordan Love taking a game like that where they got absolutely embarrassed essentially in that first half and ultimately the game against the Lions in week 4. I think you're going to hopefully in a spot where Jordan Love has sort of the odds stacked against him. It's a Thanksgiving game. 20 million people are going to be watching, and you're going to be missing quite a few pieces of that offense. If Jordan Love can come out there and string together a performance where you look out in hindsight and think, wow, that was a gutsy performance, Jordan Love put them in position to stay in the game, then I think that is a positive coming out of today's game against the Lions.
I love that take from Colin Russo. I'm Alex Strofe with you on Green Bay Game Day on ESPN Milwaukee, ESPN Madison, 620 WTMJ, streaming live on YouTube as well if you want to see the messy, like almost closet I'm sitting in at my mom's house. Colin Russo is in his parents' attic in Connecticut. We are a nationwide show this morning on Green Bay Game Day. Quickly, before we get to Jason Wilde coming up next in the Jason Wilde Hour, should be noted, the Lions are winners of 3 straight here with an 8-2 record. And last week, it was a close one against the Chicago Bears, but it was a fault of their own. 4 turnovers for the Lions offense last week, including 3 interceptions for Jared Goff. And the Lions still find a way to put 17 points on the board in the fourth quarter and win by 5, a final of 31-26 over the now 3-8 Chicago Bears last week, Colin. Certainly an interesting game put on paper for Jared Goff last week. I doubt that history will repeat itself here in week 12.
And Jared Goff's been a guy who, throughout his career, because he's experienced and because he knows how to win, he doesn't string together terrible performances like that. What he did 4 days ago, that's a situation in which he made mistakes and he put the team in a position to lose. If Jared Goff's good at anything, it's putting the team in a position to win the game. And he's going to let the running game do what they do. He's going to let the defense do what they do. And he's going to let the offensive line do what they do. And then he will do what he has to in order for them to win the game.
We will know who's in and who's out. Coming up next is Jason Wilde joins us for the Jason Wilde Hour from 10 to 11 o'clock. Inactives will be posted in about 2 minutes. So when we return, we will hit the injury report brought to you by the Orthopedic Associates of Wisconsin. We will be joined by our good friend Jason Wilde for the ever-famous Jason Wilde Hour. That's next. It's Green Bay Game Day.
More Green Bay Game Day coming up on ESPN Wisconsin and 620 WTMJ.
Tito's Handmade Vodka is so good and smooth, you can mix it with anything. Now, hear us out. If your usual brunch cocktail sounds like a Tito's Bloody Mary stacked with garnishes is more like Tito's. Sounds pretty good. 40% alcohol by volume, namely 80 proof. Crafted to be savored responsibly.
Life's better with an auto policy from American Family Insurance. No matter what dreams you're driving towards. That's because our expert agents will make you feel totally protected with the right auto coverage at the right price. You'll also save up to 23% when you bundle auto with home. American Family Insurance. Get a quote, find an agent at amfam.com.
Products not available in every state. Visit amfam.com to learn how discounts may apply to you. American Family Mutual Insurance Company, SI, and its operating company, 6000 American Parkway, Madison, Wisconsin.
Hey, Madison. It's Dan Andrews from Simon Chevrolet in Mount Horeb. By now, you know that you're only minutes away from a better buying experience at Simon Chevrolet in Mount Horeb. But what is a better buying experience? It's a car buying experience that is custom to what you want and need. We can be your trusted expert, or we can be hands-off until you're ready to purchase. If you're in the market for a new or new-to-you Chevy truck or SUV, make the short drive to Simon Chevrolet in Mount Horeb and see the difference a better buying experience can make.
Every event tells a story, from the first impression to the final moments. Have someone guide your guests through every chapter the way you want the story told. Hi, it's Jeffrey from Celebrations Entertainment. With a strong presence, great voices, and an award-winning team, trust us to guide, direct, and inform your guests through all the different chapters of the day. For fun, memorable entertainment for any event, please visit us at celebrationsentertainment.com. That's celebrationsentertainment.com.
Hi, Dave from Canopy Wealth Management here. Our team has years of experience, which has prepared us to guide you through your life transitions and help you achieve your financial goals with confidence. We're fiduciaries and will never back gimmicks or instruments that chase single-day returns or put your long-term goals at risk. At Canopy, care, confidence, clarity isn't just a tagline, it's a promise. Go to canopy-wealth.com to get started today. That's canopy-wealth.com.
Liberty Station American Tavern and Smokehouse isn't just a barbecue restaurant. Fish fry, walleye, and vegetarian options are available.
Is the matchup today. The 8-2 Lions, the 4-6 Green Bay Packers kicking off the Thanksgiving festivities this morning at Ford Field in Detroit. You ever been to Detroit, Colin?
Yes, I have. I've been to Ford Field. I saw the Jaguars play there. Bortles had 3 interceptions, including one off the foot of a Lions defender. And I saw a Pistons game. And then I actually saw a Michigan game when I was out there, too. So I did a little bit of a trifecta in terms of the Michigan sports.
Very good. Very good. Well, a man that I'm sure has been to Detroit many times joins us now. He is the 3-time Wisconsin Sports Writer of the Year and our teammate. You hear him every weekday, 9 to noon, alongside the Packers Hall of Famer Mark Tauscher. Jason Wilde joins us now for the Jason Wilde Hour, very cleverly titled. Happy Thanksgiving, Jason. How are you?
Happy Thanksgiving to you guys as well, and grateful for you to be working on Thanksgiving. So happy to be with you, and not so happy for my guy Dontavion Wicks, though, who is among the many inactives for the Packers today.
Well, let's dive into the injury report brought to you by the Orthopedic Associates of Wisconsin. There is a difference. Visit orthowisconsin.com today for more information. Jason, I haven't even seen it yet, so I'm going to live react with you. Run us through the inactives today for the Packers against the Lions.
All right, well, let's start at the top with Caleb Jones is inactive. Caleb Jones. No,
okay, great.
He is inactive, but that's not the top of the list. We knew Aaron Jones was already ruled out. Aaron Jones is out. Rudy Ford is out. Dontavion Wicks is out. Jair Alexander is out.
Oh, man.
Devondre Campbell is out.
Campbell's out too? Oh, my goodness.
And Josiah DeGuara, who I know is Gary Ellerson's favorite player. So, look, they've got – and they already put Emmanuel Wilson and Luke Musgrave on injured reserve. So they're not inactive. They're inactive on the injured reserve list. So you take these guys. Caleb Jones is the only healthy scratch of the bunch. Campbell suffered a neck injury on Sunday. Wicks has a concussion. He did take part in practice on a limited basis. Had they had practice, it was an estimation yesterday. So there was maybe some hope that he might be cleared, but he was not cleared. So in the secondary, once again, it looks like either Anthony Johnson or Benny Sapp will get the start at one safety spot across from Jonathan Owens. But I guess the good news is that, well, there's not a whole lot of good news. But Jaden Reed, who was on the injury report, Jaden Reed, who was on the injury report with that chest issue, was removed yesterday and is active today. So at least they will have him at their disposal.
And hopefully Quadzilla can find his footing a little bit, right? Obviously, he was listed on the injury report. We didn't think he would be inactive at all, and obviously not today. This is interesting, Jason. And Colin and I were talking about it. I imagine this is where Colin was about to go. Cornerback was a position that I think coming into the season we felt really good about. But Jair Alexander has missed more games than he's played now. And obviously you trade Rasul Douglas to the Bills a couple of weeks ago. They're really thin in the defensive backfield today against a pretty darn good quarterback with a chip on his shoulder after a 3-interception performance last week in Jared Goff.
Yeah, and look, Amon-Ra St. Brown only had 5 catches for 56 yards last time these teams met. I don't anticipate him being that limited in his production today. Carrington Valentine, Corey Ballantyne, you're talking about 2 guys that obviously you would prefer to have opportunities to either develop or to be in reserve roles. But, you know, those 2 guys are going to start, but there's the trickle down from that too, right? When they go to their nickel and their dime, they had Benny Sapp in their dime last week. I don't know which way they're going to go this week. They've got a couple of other options. Robert Rochelle, who they added off the Carolina Panthers practice squad. Caillou, who I love that little bald kid from the cartoon on PBS Kids. Caillou Blue Kelly is another option that they could go with. But you're right. This is not ideal. And we went from, you know, Joe Barry telling us that trying to figure out how to get Eric Stokes into the rotation was a champagne problem. So now Eric Stokes is still on injured reserve. Darnell Savage, who was at least designated for return, was also ruled out today. So, you know, they're not able to go. He's not been added to the roster again. So it is a challenging, you know, you thought this team was going to have its challenges just because of the youth. And I said this during the summer, that when you go this young, it also means that you have even less experienced and less accomplished guys on your depth chart in the second and third and fourth slots. And that's exactly what they're dealing with here. I mean, I don't think they want to have Corey Ballantyne and Carrington Valentine as starters. They would love for them to be a spot starter. You know, if for one game Jair Alexander can't go, but as you said, now we've reached the tipping point where he's actually played in fewer games than he's missed, and that's just not good when a guy's a second-team All-Pro.
Jason, we were talking to Domofsky earlier about, like, the fact that they're understaffed, and at this point, frankly, that's an understatement in terms of the Packers being understaffed and undergunned today. But we asked him earlier, and I want to ask you right now, it seems like Jordan Love's going to need to string together quite a performance for the Packers to even be within this game. What needs to go right for the Packers today? Do they need another kind of drop-the-ball type of game from Detroit? What do the Packers need today to stay in the game against the Lions?
Well, I know that Alex is a big fan of Quadzilla. They're going to need him to play well for one, right? That's the starting point. He has to be productive in the run game. They did bring back Patrick Taylor. They brought back James Robinson, who had not been on their 53-man roster. He'd only been on their practice squad. But those are their three running back options today. So I think they need to be able to figure out a way against a good defense, but certainly one that showed it's vulnerable in the last several weeks. They have to be able to run the ball effectively. And then, LaFleur, it's cliche and it's cheesy, but it's also true, right? When guys miss games, it does create opportunities for other guys to show what they're capable of. And I would say that Tucker Kraft, if you're going to force me to start Tucker Kraft, which they are going to be forced to do today, with only two true tight ends active, with him and Ben Sims, I at least like the fact that he's coming off of a game in which he really showed some things, right? We've seen his playing time spike a little bit. We've seen him have that touchdown that got called back because he went out of bounds on that hurdle. But that was a good moment for him. That he is starting to show why they drafted him in the third round and why maybe it's possible he won't be as bad of a third-round pick as all of Goody's other third-round picks. So those are some of the things that they're going to need to definitely fall their way. But I don't know. I saw some ridiculous stat on Twitter, which I'm sure has been completely vetted and is totally accurate, that when the moon is waxing gibbous
yes,
on Thanksgiving, the Lions are 0-12, and apparently it's waxing gibbous today. So there you go. There's where you can put your hope on a lunar calendar.
I'm thrilled to report, Jason, we spent 2 segments talking about strictly that.
Wow. I'm glad I can fit in with your game plan, then.
Yeah, we're pretty fired up about the waxing gibbous. Can't tell you what the hell it means. I just know that it's a good stat that works in the Packers' favor today as they head to Detroit to kick off the Thanksgiving party, 11:30 kickoff between the 8-2 Lions and the 4-6 Packers. With Jason Wilde and Colin Russo, I'm Alex Strofe. It is Green Bay Game Day on ESPN Wisconsin, 620 WTMJ. Who needs to step up today? We'll talk about that coming up next. It's Green Bay Game Day.
We're back with Green Bay Game Day after this on ESPN Wisconsin and with 620 WTMJ.
Get your game on at the Island Resort and Casino with first-round picks of your favorite slots and table games. Bring friends and watch your favorite team compete on big screens. Grab Game Day Eats in T. McSee's Sports Bar. Or celebrate your team's victory in Horizon's Steakhouse. To book your game time at the Island Resort and Casino, call 800-682-6040 today.
It's that time of year where we give thanks to everything we are thankful for. And here at Metro Ford of Madison, we are thankful for you, our wonderful community and customers. To honor that, Metro Ford of Madison is giving you great deals this November. Get into a rugged 2023 Ford F-150 for 3.9% APR for 66 months to qualify credit, $18 per 1,000 borrowed. Great deals are also available on the 2023 Mach-E and Ford Broncos. Search inventory at metrofordofmadison.com.
The GRB Rays have established themselves as one of the top baseball programs in the Midwest and the country. GRB Academy offers training programs for players of all ages and skill levels. Learn from some of the best baseball coaches in the area and find the program that fits your training goals and your schedule. Spots are filling up fast, so visit grbacademy.com to sign up now. That's grbacademy.com. GRB Academy, baseball for the serious player.
We're here.
You brought me to a cornfield to see a scarecrow?
Well, the mortgage lender said the money for our home is in Scarecrow.
I think they said escrow.
Oh.
There's a lot to learn when buying your first home. That's why UW Credit Union offers home loans with local expertise and a lowest closing cost commitment to make the journey easy. UW Credit Union. Apply today. Equal housing lender.
That to-do list you have needs one more thing. Chill. It's an easy thing to do. Just crack open an ice-cold Coors Light and chill. Take the afternoon off and binge watch anything. Go to happy hour and stay for a couple hours. Who's counting anyways? Or hang out with just your dog, because you've had enough human interaction this week. Whatever you do it with a Coors Light. Mountain Cold Refreshment made to chill. 2020 Coors Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado. Celebrate responsibly.
Gruber Law Offices and other business owners help local startups get on their feet on Project Pitch It. Watch it Saturday nights at 10:35 on WISN 12. One call, that's all.
For official rules and more information about every contest on 100.5 ESPN, visit ESPNWisconsinContests.com. That's ESPNWisconsinContests.com. You're listening to 100.5 ESPN and the ESPN app.
This is Green Bay Game Day on ESPN Wisconsin and 620 WTMJ.
Last night I let the party get the
Green Bay Game Day rolls on about an hour 15 from kickoff between the Green Bay Packers, 4-6 on the air, taking on the division rival and division leading 8-2 Detroit Lions. I'm Alex Strofe alongside Colin Russo and three-time Wisconsin Sports Writer of the Year, Jason Wilde, with us as well for the Jason Wilde Hour. And fellas, this is just an interesting game. But Jason, you're a guy that's been around the team a lot longer than both Colin and I. Maybe have even been alive, but I didn't need to mention that part. Happy Thanksgiving. But you've seen plenty of Thanksgiving games. Are you a fan or are you not a fan of the Thanksgiving Packers game?
So, first of all, like I said, it's not always fun to work on holidays, and I've been doing this for a really long time. So I do respect the heck out of both of you for taking time away from your families to host the show today. It's, look, the problem with Thanksgiving, and, we put up our Christmas decorations super early in our house. It's not that we're not grateful people. We are grateful for the life we have. But Thanksgiving in the NFL is a totally different deal. Like every Thanksgiving for the last 28 years, I've either been covering a game or covering practice. I told this story on Wilde and Tausch. I wish I would have told you guys so you could ask Domofsky how his Thanksgiving's going. A few years ago, when McCarthy was still the coach, we have the turkey trot up here. Mm-hmm. And there's like lots of runners all around the Lambeau Field area. And McCarthy, because he put his practice schedule where his mouth was when it came to family time is important, would take the Thursday Thanksgiving practice and move it really early, like 8 a.m. early. So guys could get their work done, they could get meetings done, and they could go home and spend Thanksgiving with their families or have Friendsgiving with their teammates. But the problem with this was this practice inside the Hudson Center was roughly the same time as the turkey trot was going on, and Domofsky could not get to the practice. And by the time he got there, he was so mad, and even McCarthy had to tell him to calm down. And then the best part, I believe that was the same year that Rob did the fry a turkey in a vat of bubbling oil, and it started on fire. So, yes, Thanksgiving can be challenging for NFL beat writers, but I'm lucky because I'm at a point now in my career where I'm not traveling. I know all those guys are there. You talked to Rob earlier. I'm happy to be able to be home at least and talking to you guys and writing from home and doing Green Bay game night afterward from home instead of from Ford Field.
Well, rumor has it, Wilde, that you're going to be the most popular man at the Thanksgiving gathering during the game. Is that true?
Well, I think it's more the subject matter, not me personally. But yes, we are going over to Paula's aunt, who is also her godmother. We don't do a whole lot of extended family stuff, and they invited us, and so there's going to be some dudes there, uncles and brothers and grandpas and all the kinds of folks that you would have at a traditional family gathering, who I'm sure will have more than enough ideas for me on what's wrong with the Packers and what I should write about, what I should talk about on the radio. So I look forward to their very insightful input. It's going to be fun.
Jason, building off of that, the extended family, it's sort of the type of thing you're so excited to see them when you see them, and then all of a sudden they want to hear how LaFleur is like after the press conferences. Does it irk you a little bit? Is it sort of like you just deal with it? What is your reaction to that when people try to pick your brain at the family gathering?
It's a good question.
It's a great question. And look, I have said this for many, many, many years because this is something that happens not just at family gatherings, but at the grocery store. I was at Festival Foods yesterday, and I'm not the tallest guy, and the Simply apple juice was too far back on the rack, so I had to ask someone for help. And Brian was nice enough to help, and then he asked me what I thought is going to happen in the game because he recognized me from TV. And so my point is always, I'm really lucky. I get to do a job that people care about, that they're interested in, like I said, the subject matter. Like, my dad worked in a factory for 40 years. Nobody really cared about what rolled off the assembly line after he got done with work, right? I get to do something where people actually are really interested. Who the hell do I think I am to deprive them of that? So I am always happy to answer those questions. My only pet peeve, because I'm certainly not perfect, is that during the tours that they conduct at Lambeau Field, I like to leave my door open. I was like that in college with my dorm room door. But then people stick their heads in and then they critique my decorations that I have in there, which are essentially just the things that Paula does not want in the house. So like a 3-foot tall Rocky Balboa. She doesn't want that in here, so that goes to Lambeau Field.
I was going to bring up the Rocky because I've had the pleasure of being in Jason Wilde's Lambeau Field office. And Jason, I don't want to call it messy, but I can't think of a better cluttered. Yeah, that's a better word choice. You're right about that. Jason Wilde, Colin Russo, Alex Strofe with you. Plenty to come up still here in the 10 o'clock hour. We've got to make our Gruber Law Offices one call coming up next. We've got to play the greatest game in the history of radio, yes or no, with Jason Wilde. We've got to get Jason Wilde's game picks and final thoughts. Still all ahead. But before we get there, Jason, I know you'll be driving around in your vehicle today on Thanksgiving from your friends at Boucher Automotive.
It is. Paula loves it, and they take such great care of her. We drive it down when we need an oil change, and they take great care. Their service department is unbelievable. Their sales team has been great. And, you hear plenty of people talk about different dealerships and, go see my friends at so-and-so. Even if I wasn't here to tell you that, Boucher is so big, so successful. They're expanding again. They are as good as it gets in the greater Milwaukee area, and I'm sure most of you already know that. But if you don't, go to Boucher.com to find out more. Boucher.com, there you'll find all their different dealerships, all their different brands. Find out more about their great service departments. We are a Nissan family. We're always at the Nissan dealership out in Greenfield where Mike and Scotty and Danny and the whole crew are always taking good care of us and usually listening or watching Wilde and Tausch on YouTube. That's how supportive they are of the show. So we're appreciative of them on this Thanksgiving. Boucher.com to find out more.
We will make our one prediction for the game. Not your game pick, but a prediction about the game when we play Gruber Law Offices One Call. That's all. And that's next on Green Bay Game Day on 620 WTMJ and ESPN Wisconsin.
Stay right here. Green Bay Game Day will be right back on ESPN Wisconsin and 620 WTMJ.
Circus Sports is now available at American Place. Bet on your favorite Milwaukee and Wisconsin teams, from Wisconsin football and basketball to all the Milwaukee basketball action, as well as more games nationwide. The Circus Sportsbook at American Place has 36 TVs, so you won't miss any of the action. And it's just 30 minutes from Kenosha and 45 minutes from Racine. For more information and to find out about their events, go to circusports.com. All Circus Sports bets must be placed in Illinois. If you or someone you know may have a problem with gambling, call 1-800-GAMBLER or text GAMB to 833-234.
The area's best high school sports coverage is Zimbrick Honda's presentation of Prep Mania.
Got it. History at Camp Randall Stadium. Carter Butt with his 5th touchdown carry of the day, most ever in a Division VII state championship game.
Zimbrick Honda's Prep Mania is also brought to you by Canopy Wealth Management, Pasquale's Cantina, UW Credit Union, Stoughton Trailers, the GRB Academy, and Stoughton Health.
WTMJ's Vince Vitrano here. You know, I've played sports my entire life, been hurt a lot of times, but never had been injured until I had to stop doing the sports I enjoyed because my knee flat wouldn't allow it. I visited Orthopedic Associates of Wisconsin, where they took great care of me. I put my knee in their doctors' capable hands, and now I'm back in the gym, carrying my golf bag, pain-free for 18 holes, and playing tennis as often as I like, with no issues. I'd recommend Orthopedic Associates of Wisconsin to anyone. Visit orthowisconsin.com.
Julie, you've been here at Pasquale's for a while. What comes to mind when you think of Pasquale's Cantina?
Fun, fresh, local, and the best margaritas in town, including our Santa's Helper.
Ah, yes, and that's because we have the largest tequila selection in Madison and the surrounding area. For me, I love that we're Madison's favorite friends and family gathering spot.
That's because of our great customers who have followed Pasquale's over the years. So for me, it's our guests that make Pasquale's Cantina.
Bringing the flavors of the Southwest to the Midwest. Pasquale's Cantina.
The drive home is now golden.
Ryan and Madison chimes in. Yeah, Alice in Chains, Alice Cooper, totally different things.
Totally different things. But what's the connection? Why could I have got that screwed up?
Rutledge and Hamilton, presented by Coors Light.
It was fine. It was great. The best part about it was just the confidence.
Here's the thing. I say everything with pure confidence, whether I think I'm totally right or not.
Rutledge and Hamilton with Jim Rutledge and Olympic gold medalist Matt Hamilton. Weekdays 4 to 6 on 100.5 ESPN.
Since 1956, Holman Lindsay Paints has been making paint in Wisconsin for Wisconsin. Because of their commitment to making great paint for Wisconsinites, Holman Lindsay has grown over the years to 26 locations in this great state. Headquarters in Sun Prairie with a state-of-the-art facility, Holman Lindsay has the paint you need to make your job better. From do-it-yourself to professional, Holman Lindsay has paint for everyone. Visit one of their local locations today in Madison, Sun Prairie, Middleton, and Janesville.
Welcome back to Green Bay Game Day on ESPN Wisconsin and 620 WTMJ.
My night runs into morning.
It's Green Bay Game Day on your Thanksgiving morning, just over an hour away from kickoff between the 4-6 Green Bay Packers and the 8-2 Detroit Lions. Winners of 3 in a row are the Detroit Lions. I'm Alex Strope, alongside the 3-time Wisconsin Sports Writer of the Year, Jason Wilde, and the pride of Connecticut, Colin Russo, with you on your Thanksgiving morning. All right, fellas. I think this is the first time each of you have played this segment with us this year because our clock a little bit different. Jason joining us at a different time than usual. We got to play our one call, brought to you by Gruber Law Offices, where we make one prediction related to the game. Mine pretty much always relates to Jayden Reed, so we'll get to that in a second. But as always, Jason, you love your friend David Gruber and his team at Gruber Law Offices.
He is a good friend, and as I always say, I'm really thankful not only for my friendship with him, but more importantly that I've never needed his legal expertise, because no one that's close to me or myself has been in a serious accident and needed his legal expertise. But it's always great to know that he's there if we ever do need him. And he's been there he and his firm have been there for the entire Milwaukee community and expanding well beyond Milwaukee nowadays for over 35 years. So if you do need legal help, if you have been injured in an accident, one call, that's all. It's not just a slogan. It's how simple it is to get the ball rolling. 414-276-6666, 414-276-6666. Or you can visit the website gruber-law.com, find out more about their lawyers, find out more about the history of the firm, find out more about what they do in our community. They support Marquette, they support the Badgers, they support the Packers, they support the Brewers. They're everywhere. Gruber Law Offices, one call, that's all.
They are everywhere. I saw, I think, 4 David Gruber billboards on my ride from Madison to Manitowoc yesterday, Jason. So he is indeed everywhere. All right, time now to make our one call for the game. I will start because I already spoiled who it's about. As Jayden Reed, when you do something 3 times in a row, it's called a streak. And I believe Jayden Reed begins his touchdown streak today, a rushing touchdown last week, a receiving touchdown 2 weeks ago. I think it will be a receiving touchdown for Jayden Reed and a Packers loss today. That is my one call from Gruber Law Offices. Colin Russo, I go to you next.
My one call, a little less positive compared to your Jayden Reed prediction. We talked about earlier with Rob Domofsky about how this Lions defense doesn't really force that many turnovers. And they're a defense that's just pretty stout, but doesn't necessarily jump in front of the ball. With what the injury report looks like and the nature of the game and the Lions coming off a tough game, I'm going to predict that the Lions are going to force 3 turnovers today. However those turnovers occur is none of my business, but I will say that the Lions will force
What is this?
3 turnovers today. That's my call.
Okay.
That's my prediction.
Well, I am no longer thankful to be hosting the show with you 2 hours in. What the hell was that? Jason,
why wouldn't I make a prediction that I thought was going to happen, Schroff?
Because it's not going to happen. Maybe 2, but not 3. Jason,
3.
what's yours?
All right. Well, I know Tausch has been making predictions lately and saying that if they don't come true, that Mad Dog Russo is going to retire, which I know has been something that he's really enjoyed doing. I'm not going to do that. I did want to make a prediction that there will be more old people like me who, after halftime, will appreciate Jack Harlow's music and change. Because I got to be honest, I didn't know much about him either until he was in like a New Balance commercial with Kawhi Leonard, and then I checked out his music, and I've got him on Spotify now. But look, this is a game where the Packers are going to need absolutely everything to break their way. And there is part of me, forget the waxing gibbous of the moon, where weird things do happen on Thanksgiving. I've seen it happen. I've seen the Lions, when they're having a bad year, actually find a way to beat the Packers on Thanksgiving. I don't think that's the case today, but I do think, and this is something that I'm personally rooting for, I do think we're going to see Patrick Taylor have some pretty meaningful contributions. He's got a great attitude. This has completely upended his life in a good way. The Packers moved on from him after the Raiders game. He was not very appreciative of that, and I don't blame him for it. But this opportunity came back because of the injuries, and now I'm eager to see what he does with it. I think he's got a touchdown today in him to help keep the Packers close in the fourth quarter.
Jason, I really like that one because Patrick Taylor, cool story. You just told most of it. But last week, the Patriots were on bye. He received a phone call at halftime of the Packers game last week saying, hey, you might want to get to Green Bay. And here he is, likely running back 2 for the Green Bay Packers today. So pretty cool story on that. Had you, Jason, I always say you've done this a long time, but you are amazing at your job. 3-time Wisconsin Sports Writer of the Year. Has you heard that before? Halftime of a game you're still playing in, reaching out to a player to bring them in?
Yeah, it's actually more commonplace than you would think.
Really?
And when a team is, well, commonplace in that when you have a rash of injuries at one position like the Packers had in a 7-play span with Jones getting hurt and then Wilson getting hurt at the end of the second quarter. So Russ Ball called Chris Cabot, who is Patrick Taylor's agent, and then Patrick Taylor is sitting watching the Packers game on TV with his wife Lauren in their apartment in Foxborough, Massachusetts. And he turns to Lauren and says, I wonder if they're going to call. And shortly thereafter, his agent calls Patrick, and Patrick didn't have his phone nearby, so he didn't see it. So then Chris has to call Lauren to say, hey, they want Patrick to come back. So it was fun to hear that. And then it did. And again, these are blessings on Thanksgiving, but they are inconveniences. His parents were supposed to fly out to Foxborough to spend Thanksgiving today with them there. So suddenly now you're changing flight itineraries. He hadn't sold his house here in Green Bay. He'd been here, he'd been a rookie in 2020. So he'd been here for a while. Hadn't sold his house, but had taken all of his furniture and everything and put it in storage. So his wife had to call the movers to bring the stuff out of storage so they have somewhere to live this week. He's under contract for 3 weeks. The NFL rule is if you're plucked from someone's practice squad, you have to at least be kept on the active roster for 3 weeks. So he's got 3 weeks to prove himself and to maybe earn his keep to stay here for the rest of the season.
Yeah, it's a cool story for Patrick Taylor. So hoping it works out for him. Today is big one in Detroit. They kick off the Thanksgiving festivities 1 hour from right now. We enter hour 3 of our program coming up next with the greatest segment in the history of radio. Coming up next, we play Yes or No with Jason Will, the Alex Strofe, Kyle Russo with you as well. It's Green Bay Game Day on 620 WTMJ and ESPN Wisconsin.
More Green Bay Game Day coming up on ESPN Wisconsin and with 620 WTMJ.
Do more together this holiday in a new Chevy. Take on more adventure in the strong and capable Chevy Silverado. More confidence in the Chevy Equinox, winner of the J.D. Power Award for initial quality among compact SUVs 2 years running. And more value in the all-new Chevy Trax with an available 11-inch diagonal touchscreen. Bring the holidays together in a new Chevy. See your Badgerland Chevy dealer today. For J.D. Power 2023 U.S. Initial Quality Study Award information, visit jdpower.com/awards.
Legacy Exteriors. Just pick up the phone and let us leave a legacy on your home. Roofing, windows, gutters, siding, and decks. Can Legacy do it? You bet. Better prices, better warranties. Legacy always makes it easy. Go to legacy-exteriors.com. Legacy Exteriors. Just pick up the phone and let us leave a legacy on your home.
Get your game on at the Island Resort and Casino with first-round picks of your favorite slots and table games. Bring friends and watch your favorite team compete on big screens. Grab Game Day Eats in T. McSee's Sports Bar or celebrate your team's victory in Horizon's Steakhouse. To book your game time at the Island Resort and Casino, call 800-682-6040 today.
When it comes to security for your home and family, you want a winner, and we found one when we placed our trust with J&K Security Solutions. This is Greg Gard. Kim and Jeff hit the game-winning shot for us with the Control 4 home technology system. Home or away, from our smartphones, we can open the garage door, dim the lights, turn on the TV, as well as arm the security system. That's convenience as well as peace of mind. Let J&K Security Solutions do for your home or business like they've done for us. Call 255-5799 or online at jksecurity.com.
Hey, this is Eric Name of The Athletic. You're listening to Madison's Home of the Bucks, 100.5 ESPN, WTLX Monona, Madison, a Good Karma Brands radio station.
Get you ready for the green and gold game. This is Green Bay Game Day, powered by ESPN Wisconsin. Broadcasting live from the Gruber Law Office's One Call That's All studios at the Avenue. Here's Colin Russo, Alex Strope, and Jason Wilde.
Hour 3, Green Bay Game Day, less than an hour away from kickoff. A Thanksgiving battle between the Detroit Lions and the Green Bay Packers. You heard it. Colin Russo, Alex Strope, Jason Wilde with you. Colin, you look a little like, I don't know if it's distressed or confused or worried. What's on your mind here?
You know what I was thinking about? I was thinking about how they got the big voice to say Colin Russo. And I was I was surprised by that because I hadn't heard my voice, my name on the big voice for the opener. I am pretty sure. At least, and so, I thought I was a little taken aback by.
Is this a welcome to the league moment, and Mama I made it moment, or what?
Maybe I'm not even sure. I was just surprised they got it. I was the big voice guy. I know he's a busy guy. Did they just ask to get a Colin Russo?
Colin's going to sit down at the Thanksgiving table and say, "Mom, Dad, you'll never believe it. The guy with a really cool voice said my name today."
That's going to be it. That's going to be my opener. That's the appetizer. That's incredible. Whatever. We move on.
Speaking of appetizers, during the commercial break, my mother, Dawn, great chef, she's like, "Hey, I made a rutabaga. Try this." Just hands me a bowl of rutabaga. I'm so ready to go. This is such a great holiday. I'm so fired up. And nothing gets me more fired up than what we're about to do right now. It is time to play the greatest game in the history of radio. It's time to play Yes or No with Jason Wilde.
Will today be the day there are black and white answers from our most respected journalist?
Possibly. I think we shouldn't be greedy. Maybe. You would certainly hope so.
It's time for Yes or No with Jason Wilde.
Nobody a bigger fan of the greatest game in radio history than the namesake. Jason Wilde, I know this is the highlight of your week every week, correct?
It is, and I've decided I'm just going to embrace it, and I'm not going to give you a hard time about it. I'm excited to be with both of you. I got to say, because I feel like I need to lift you up. I instead of pushing you down, I need to lift you up, and I think I
like that you're doing that, Jason. He needs that. He's had a rough day. he's working on it.
Look, you guys know how I feel about both of you, and I love that we've got two really young, talented guys coming up. But my issue with this game has long been that he frames it as the exact opposite of what we're supposed to do on the radio. We're supposed to expound on things and give insight, and yes or no answers are not exactly what we're looking for. But I'm all in. I'm still going to give you hedging answers, but I'm not going to criticize the concept ever again. I'm done.
That actually kind of disappoints me. I felt like that out of the segment.
I thought it might.
Ragging on me.
That's what I was going for. So perfect. It worked exactly as I hoped.
I'm not supposed to expound on anything. I'm not supposed
to. You're absolutely allowed to expound.
First time playing this game, Jason, so I'm just taking your word for it.
It's not that hard. I just like to ask questions and maybe how we think the game will play out. So I start with this one, and Colin, we will always start with you because you will actually give me a yes or no answer. Yes or no, somebody not named yes or no, somebody not named A.J. Dillon will be the Packers' leading rusher today against the Detroit Lions, Colin.
I'm going to go with no. You've brought up the multitude of names. I'd be surprised. It'll be a little bit more of a committee today, but to assume that a guy will outrush their lead guy, I'd be surprised by that, especially given that they got a couple guys they could go to. So I'm going to go with a no on that, and you're going to see A.J. Dillon as a leading rusher today.
The Jacksonville Jaguars fan in Connecticut, not on the James Robinson train today.
James Robinson hasn't that Achilles injury really wore him down, so I haven't seen. He was on the Jets for a little bit. I would love to see it, but if I had to make a prediction, I would say no.
I think your prediction will probably be correct. Jason Wilde, what say you?
Maybe, perhaps, and here's why. And by the way, I would really like to explore the fandom of one Colin Russo being a Jacksonville Jaguars fan, but we'll have to do that another time. A.J. Dillon was listed as questionable on the injury report. He has a groin injury. Now, he is active, and he will start, but given the way the Packers' luck has been at running back, the last thing you want is to have lost your number 1 and number 3 backs and have your number 2 back playing through an injury himself. So that's why they've got James Robinson up. That's why they've got Patrick Taylor back on the roster. So I guess most likely to be the leading rusher, but what if something happens with him and his injury and suddenly Jordan Love is your leading rusher?
Yeah.
It probably means the Packers are losing the football game.
Well, Jaden Reed was the leading rusher a week ago, and they won that football game. So you never know what will happen in a Matt LaFleur-designed offense. Question number 2, yes or no, fans will feel better about Christian Watson after today's game than they have throughout the course of his sophomore season, Colin Russo.
I think you would need – no. I would think that – I've got to remember the rules of the game.
Greatest game in radio, baby. Greatest game in radio.
I think you would need a pretty substantial performance out of him to change kind of the outlook of his entire year. I don't know if you're going to get that today because I do think that the Packers are going to be playing from behind a little bit and playing vertically, if you will. But I think you would need a pretty substantial performance out of Christian Watson to ultimately change the perception of him in his sophomore season and ultimately his career. So I'm going to go with no.
Jason?
It's a really good answer. Look, I still think that he is going to become a good player. Tausch has got him on the cover of the Madden game at some point, which I do not see that occurring. And that has been a tough prediction for Tausch based on the way this season has gone for Christian Watson. Look, he caught lightning in a bottle during that 4-game stretch last year. He had that 3-touchdown game against the Cowboys. We were using Randy Moss's name in the same sentence with him. Look, he could have one of those breakout games. Like, he has the speed and the size to be, if Jordan Love puts some balls on the mark and they're not 50-50 balls and he can just catch them as opposed to having to fight for them, he's capable of having a big game. This is not a great defense that they're facing today, but I think it's not very likely that he's going to do enough to change our perception of his season. He would need to have a Cowboys-style game in order for that to happen.
Yeah, well said by Jason Wilde and Colin Russo there. Last one for you fellas, a Lions yes or no question to end the game today. Yes or no, Amon-Ra St. Brown will have more yards receiving than David Montgomery will have rushing for the Lions offense today.
Am I starting this one? I'm going to go with...
You start everyone, as I said at the beginning of the segment, yes?
I'm going to go with yes.
Confusion in
Watch
this
your
segment
tone, young man.
No confusion in this segment ever.
Jason, you should have seen how Strofe let in with this show. He was talking about the moon cycles and a Creed halftime show that happened during the Commanders-Redskins game in 2000. He thought it was
it was actually the Broncos-Cowboys.
Broncos, excuse me. Strofe was talking about how it was a core memory for him, that Creed performance. We ended up finding out that Strofe was 3 years old during that performance. So clearly somebody is lying here. I'm not sure if Strofe saw it on YouTube, and that was the memory. It clearly was not at the game on Thanksgiving. Nonetheless, we move on. Amon-Ra St. Brown, I'm going to take that he will have over the amount of receiving yards than David Montgomery will have rushing. I say that because I think Jahmyr Gibbs is going to be a little bit more of a focal point comparatively to what we saw 2 months ago. I think they're starting to utilize his change of pace. And I'd be surprised if he got the 30 carries he did in that game we saw 2 months ago. So I think Amon-Ra St. Brown's going to get 15 targets because Goff loves his main guy. And I think that's what we're going to see. And I think well over 100 yards would be my prediction for him.
Can Amon-Ra go higher? No way, we both just did that. Well done, Jason.
Oh, man. I don't know what that says about me. All right, So I mentioned earlier Amon-Ra St. Brown only had 5 catches for 56 yards in that first meeting that the Packers lost 38-20 or 34-20. So I anticipate him having many more opportunities. He has played in 9 of the Lions' 10 games this season. He has had 100 yards or more in 7 of those 9 that he's played. So I would anticipate him to have a good day today. But Colin is exactly right. I don't play fantasy football, but if I did, based on the way that they are trending in terms of their playing time, Gibbs is a guy, their first-round pick, that they want to give more opportunities to. And yet, David Montgomery still ended up being the one who scored the go-ahead touchdown last week to beat the Bears. So if they're able to have a healthy combo there, I think Amon-Ra St. Brown easily has more yardage than perhaps both running backs today.
To a place where blind men see. All right, that's yes or no with Jason Wilde of Alex Strofe with Colin Russo as well. Coming up next, we get Jason Wilde's game pick if he makes one and doesn't decide to hedge like he typically does when we ask him black and white questions. But we will certainly try to get a game pick out of Jason Wilde as well as his final thoughts leading you into kickoff at 11:30. Packers-Lions. We wrap up the Jason Wilde Hour. Coming up next, it's Green Bay Game Day on 620 WTMJ and ESPN Wisconsin.
We're back with Green Bay Game Day after this on ESPN Wisconsin and 620 WTMJ.
Football fans, tailgating season is here, and if you want to win at tailgating, you need to Boatify your beverage choice. Box wine is the ultimate addition to your tailgate party. This premium wine comes in a box, so it fits perfectly in your cooler or trunk, and there's no heavy glass or corkscrew to deal with. One 3-liter Box is equivalent to 4 regular bottles of wine, so it's great for sharing. Bring the wine that wins with Wine Critics Box. This is how we Boda. Please drink responsibly. Must be 21 or over. Box Vineyards, Manteca, California.
You can drive cutting-edge design. 2023 Audis are on the lot and ready for delivery. You can save $7,500 on select Audi EVs with the AFS EV lease bonus. See dealer for details and exclusions. Eligibility is subject to credit approval through Audi Financial Services. Cannot be combined with national customer credit. Offer expires November 30th. Stop in and test drive today. Check out our website to see our current electric vehicle inventory and our monthly specials. The search for your Audi begins and ends at Audi Madison, off the Beltline and Rimrock Road. Drive yours today.
Celebrate Wisconsin hospitality at a Buck & Honey's location near you. You can give your friends or loved ones a memorable experience with a Buck & Honey's gift card. Or treat yourself. For every $100 in gift cards purchased, you'll get $20 back to use at Buck & Honey's in Sun Prairie, Monona, Waunakee, or the new location in Mount Horeb. Oh, don't forget to make yourself reservations for the holidays. Offer availability between November 15th and December 31st. Locally owned and operated. We'll see you at Buck & Honey's.
Life's better with a home policy from American Family Insurance because you'll feel protected no matter how the wind blows. All so you can keep enjoying the home of your dreams. And our expert agents can help you save up to 23% when you bundle home with auto. Insure carefully, dream fearlessly. American Family Insurance. Get a quote? Find an agent at amfam.com.
Products not available in every state. Visit amfam.com to learn how discounts may apply to you. American Family Mutual Insurance Company, SI, and its operating company, 6000 American Parkway, Madison, Wisconsin.
Listen to Wilde and Tausch, presented by Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin on 100.5 ESPN.
I'll tell you what, I had pear on a pizza last night. Pear on a pizza. Who would have thought? Pretty good. Pear. What? Yep. It was pretty doggone good.
Wilde and Tausch, weekdays 9 to noon on 100.5 ESPN. Also brought to you by Grassland Dairy, Hallman Lindsay Paints, Coors Light, Made to Chill, and American Family Insurance.
Spend Black Friday at Ho-Chunk Gaming Madison, and you got a chance to make it a Cash Friday. On Friday, November 24th from 5 to 8 p.m., 21 winners will spin the prize wheel and take home between $500 and $5,000 cash each in our Cash Friday promotion. Plus, November 24th is Ho-Chunk Day, and we're celebrating by giving the first 500 guests that visit our Rewards Club booth $25 in rewards play. Make Cash Friday part of your holiday tradition at Ho-Chunk Gaming Madison.
This is Green Bay Game Day on ESPN Wisconsin and 620 WTMJ.
I feel like similarly to how Die Hard is a Christmas movie, this is a Thanksgiving song. It's Green Bay Game Day on your radio, leading up to kickoff between the Packers and the Lions coming up at 11:30. I'm Alex Strofe alongside the pride of Connecticut, Colin Russo, and wrapping up the Jason Wilde Hour with the Thanksgiving anthem with Jason Wilde. Is that a fair take, fellas? Die Hard Christmas movie, Higher by Creed, a Thanksgiving song.
I'll start this one, Jason. You know, Strofe earlier said, what was the last name? Merriweather is Thanksgiving related.
Ellis Merriweather, yes, the practice
Ellis
squad
Merriweather
Packers.
is a Thanksgiving-related name. I completely disagreed. I'm going to disagree once again. What? I think Strofe is trying to make some sort of Thanksgiving connection, Thanksgiving mojo surrounding something involving the show, and I don't think he's found it yet. So I think he's working on it.
Hold on, you left out the good one, though. I thought I found it with which Packers rookie are you most thankful for? I thought I found it there.
That was not a bad one. I'll say you're 1 for 3 in your Thanksgiving categorization.
But Ellis Merriweather is definitely a Thanksgiving name, Jason. Back me up here.
No, that's not a Thanksgiving name at all. I mean, it could be maybe a good character's name in like one of those Hallmark Christmas movies.
Thanksgiving.
Ellis Merriweather comes back from the big city to his small town, and his mom's been sick, so he's come back to help nurse her back to health.
This got sad.
He goes to the Christmas tree farm, and there he runs into his high school sweetheart who he left behind when he left for college in the big city, and Ellis Merriweather falls in love and moves back to the small town. That's what Ellis Merriweather is. He's not a Thanksgiving guy.
The screenwriter Jason Wilde.
I was just about to say, yeah. If he wasn't a 3-time sports writer of the year, he'd be a 3-time screenwriter of the year. That wasn't that bad.
I'm just trying to break in. I'm trying to make sure that I've got other skills that are marketable beyond just writing about the Packers and talking about the Packers.
But you're pretty good at talking about him, and we'll continue to do that now as we somehow pivot out of Ellis Merriweather's Hallmark movie. Jason Wilde, Colin Russo, Alex Strofe with you on Green Bay Game Day. Yeah, I'm just buying myself time to figure out how I transition is the issue there, Jason. So I'll just ask you this. About week 4 of the season, 2 months ago, we saw the Lions come into Lambeau Field and hang on to a 27-3 lead at halftime. How did the Packers get off to a faster start on both sides of the ball? Is this the first time they're seeing an opponent twice in the same season?
Yeah, they can't have stupid mistakes, right? Now, I personally, I don't believe Matt LaFleur. I think he was maybe not 100% truthful when he said that cutting Dallin Leavitt to make room for Patrick Taylor on the roster had nothing to do with how last week's game started. I mean, not only does he get a holding penalty, but then he gets the foul against an official, and the Packers are starting at their 7-yard line. Now, they did move the ball. They got a couple of first downs, which is the kind of thing they need to do, but they can't have these kinds of early game mistakes. They still only scored 1 touchdown in the first half last week. Even though, they scored 23 points and they won the game, they just continue to be bad to slightly below mediocre in first halves. They can't dig that kind of a hole, and they certainly can't do it on Thanksgiving. So they got to avoid these dumb penalties, the false start on 3rd and 2 that suddenly makes it 3rd and 7. There's just been way too much of that this season in first halves. They also missed a field goal in the first half last week. These are the kinds of things they have to avoid.
Jason, I got to ask you this because Strofe and I were talking about it earlier in the show. Now that we know that the Packers are pretty banged up coming into the game, going to be missing quite a few pieces on offense, a lot of the eyes are going to be on Jordan Love in this situation. In the context of the season, in the context of what the Packers believe about Jordan Love, how much weight does this game really have now? They're a little understaffed. What can you see from Jordan Love that kind of will alter your perspective on him? We said if he shows some guts today and keeps them in the game, I think that's the kind of the best that you could go with here because you can't expect him to light it up. In the context of what the Packers view as in Jordan Love, what can this game really do to kind of change that perception?
Yeah, I think that's a really good question, and I'm really eager to see how he performs today because you're right. This is adversity, right? This is a game in which you're going to be without who I would argue has been really their kind of go-to guy when they absolutely need it. I know, Romeo Doubs had a touchdown catch to give them the lead last week, but it feels like when Jordan Love has been in trouble, it's been Dontavion Wicks that he finds open, right? And, Wicks even drew the kind of sketchy pass interference penalty on 3rd and 20 last week to keep that touchdown drive alive. So you're not going to have him. You're not going to have Luke Musgrave. Your running game, who the heck knows what it's going to look like. So how does Jordan Love, how effectively can Jordan Love uplift, take them higher, if you will, on Thanksgiving, the offense? And so, yeah, I think it's an important game for him. But I would also add that I think every game is important because we're still on what I keep calling this fact-finding mission with him. And I think the last 2 weeks, really the last 3, although I didn't think he played as well as his numbers indicated against the Rams, but I thought he played better against the Steelers. I know the interceptions besmirched that, but I still think that if Christian Watson runs his route correctly on the first interception, it's a touchdown. But I thought he played better against the Steelers, and then he played even better last week against the Chargers and their 31st ranked pass defense. So he needs to keep that trend line going up, even given the circumstances of today.
Jordan Love stacking successes. The Lions have won 3 in a row, and they kick off the Thanksgiving festivities about a half an hour from right now. Packers, Lions, Jason Wilde. I know you're out of the prediction business, but this is what I ask you every week. Prediction time. The floor is yours.
Yeah, I'm not going to make any predictions here. I'm actually going to use this time. I was watching the game, what was it, a couple weeks ago when Noah Eagle was on the call, and obviously he's followed in his dad's footsteps, and he's really, really good. And Colin Russo's really, really good, and he's following in his dad's footsteps. Sydney and I have had a few conversations. Some days she wants to grow up to be like me. Other days she thinks that there's way more important things she can tend to agree. But I have so much respect for these guys, the 2 that I mentioned, and maybe someday if Sydney joins me in this business, who do a really good job, not because of who their dads are, but because they're really good at what they do. And I was thinking about Colin when I knew he was going to be doing the show today. Strofe, you could have been a great cop like your dad. Instead, you've chosen this path, and you're really good at this too. But I was really excited. I know I told you guys this a while back when we were filling in on a show, but I just think it's so important for us to have young, up-and-coming, talented guys on our team. Just like the Packers are going young, we need to have some youth and some young talent, and we're really lucky to have you both. So I'm thankful that I got to do the show with you guys today, and keep up the great work. I'm proud of you.
Well, you are stupidly nice. And Colin, the way I hear that is Jason Wilde's game prediction today is that you and I will be the CEO and president of the company within the next 2 years.
Yeah, I appreciate the words, Jason. Very kind words. Have a good Thanksgiving as well.
All right, guys.
Big thanks to Jason Wilde, not only for the kind words, but, of course, the terrific insight on all things green and gold. You'll hear him as well after the game alongside Gabe Neitzel and the Packers Hall of Famer Mark Tauscher on Green Bay Game Night on these very stations immediately following the final whistle for 2 hours. Colin Russo, Alex Strofe sticking with you for another half an hour as we lead you up to kickoff. I just filled out my couple of my fantasy football lineups. I was looking at some of the prop bets and some of the lines. We will dive in to the best bets presented by Island Resort and Casino. Coming up next, it's Green Bay Game Day on 620 WTMJ and ESPN Wisconsin.
Stay right here. Green Bay Game Day will be right back on ESPN Wisconsin and 620 WTMJ.
Get to and from every home game in Green Bay this football season safely. Milwaukee Brought House, Jack's American Pub, and Wanakee Golf Course all offer transportation on game days. They've got bus services with private restrooms and all-you-can-drink packages. Book your round-trip ride from any of these locations and get complimentary access to an all-you-can-eat and drink tailgate at the bar on Holmgren Way. Make your reservations now. There's still room for the December 3rd game. Visit MilwaukeeBroughthouse.com to book your trip today and use code ESPN23 for 10% off.
Buckle up. It's all systems go at Potawatomi. Plug in to high wattage play and you could win an all-electric BMW i7. Play now through September with your club card. Prize drawings on Thursdays. There's a shocking $800,000 in total prizes on the line, including the luxury BMW i7. It's time to electrify your drive. Only at Potawatomi Casino Hotel. More info at paysbig.com/BMW. Must be 21 years old and a club member to play.
That to-do list you have needs one more thing. Chill. It's an easy thing to do. Just crack open an ice-cold Coors Light and chill. Take the afternoon off and binge watch anything. Go to happy hour and stay for a couple hours. Who's counting anyways? Or hang out with just your dog because you've had enough human interaction this week. Whatever you do it with a Coors Light. Mountain cold refreshment made to chill. 2020 Coors Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado. Celebrate responsibly.
Santa's back. Back again. Santa's back.
That's not a Christmas song, Dad.
That's true, Sid, but I'm celebrating our ESPN Wisconsin Racine Danish Kringles Jingle for Your Kringle contest on Wilde and Tausch, where you could win Kringle for a year. It's back for another year.
Can I enter?
Sure, anyone can. All you have to do is submit your own original jingle to celebrate the holidays and Racine Danish Kringle to ESPNWisconsinContest.com. Then we'll pick the most creative songs, and our grand prize winner will get Kringle for a year. There's only one requirement. Make sure you include Racine Danish Kringles. It's not just a treat, it's a tradition in your jingle. Or if you don't want to sing, but you still want to celebrate the holidays with the Racine Danish Kringle, call 800-4DANISH or visit Kringle.com and order their all-new holiday stick sampler.
Sweet dreams of holiday Kringle, Mary Berry and apple, and lots of icing too.
Sid, what are you doing?
I'm working on my jingle. Kringle, I love you.
It's that time of year where we give thanks to everything we are thankful for. And here at Metro Ford of Madison, we are thankful for you, our wonderful community and customers. To honor that, Metro Ford of Madison is giving you great deals this November. Get into a rugged 2023 Ford F-150 for 3.9% APR for 66 months to qualified credit, $18 per $1,000 borrowed. Great deals are also available on the 2023 Mach-E and Ford Broncos. Search inventory at MetroFordofMadison.com.
Hey, this is former Badger Brad Norton.
It's a fake. Great call and great execution.
You're listening to a Good Karma Brands radio station, 100.5 ESPN, WTLX, Monona, Madison.
We're getting in that groove. Everyone's kind of getting settled in. That chemistry's building day by day. So, I think we're in a really good spot right now. We just got to keep building on it.
Let me tell you something. If he is on this trajectory, he'll have a new deal before the end of the season.
If they make the playoffs, I will jump in Lake Michigan.
Oh, I'm hopeful. Yes, I am hopeful for
Give Jordan Love the bag. That guy has the first 300-yard game in Packer history since 2021. He's our guy.
and he'll make a way.
What the heck? I'm jumping in.
Yes!
I'm going to jump in. Hey, book it in there.
Hey, it's for the Packers.
The playoffs.
We
Tory
diving
Lowe and
in.
Ben Bruss, we're going in.
I'm going to put the cheese head on. We jumping in the water.
I'm taking Jordan Love today because I don't know if there could be anybody else that could be the dog of the game. And they haven't had a 300-yard passer in forever. Haven't won a game, a close, tight game in forever. Jordan Love hadn't been able to close out a game when he's had the ball in his hands in a one-score game ever in his career. He did it all today. That's why he deserves a woof, 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 woof. Big-time dog of the game, Jordan Love.
Are you in for the Green Bay plunge for the playoffs if they make it?
I am in for the Green Bay plunge for the playoffs.
With the game on the line and you're losing, you're able to go and get that touchdown to Dobbs. No matter how you got in position to it, you had a play where you had to make it, and he did.
Let me tell you something. If he is on this trajectory, he'll have a new deal before the end of the season.
No, what I'd do is I'd come back and I'd go with you clowns and I'd jump in Lake Michigan.
I love that. We'll host you.
Lake Michigan December, not much different than Lake Michigan in August, right? Like that's a cold.
Never is a fun body of water to jump in. I don't care if it's July, August, or January. You hit it on the head.
You're talking numbers?
When I said he's going to get an extension, Gabe appropriately said, Homer, do you know what it is? Because I hadn't given the numbers. I'm just trying to, the people that aren't sure about him, whatever, fine, don't be sure about him, and that's fine, and it's legitimate. I'm just saying, he's the guy. He's going to be the guy, so get comfortable or accept that or whatever. It's just that I believe Goody has decided.
Yeah.
So you don't think Goody has?
No, because you can't. His job is to not do what you're doing now.
Green Bay Game Day this week in Love. Terrific work as always by Tony Cartagena. Obviously, a lot of talk about Jordan Love. Is he the guy? After last week's 300-plus yard performance, the first for the Packers in 31 games. I'm Alex Schroff alongside Colin Russo here on Green Bay Game Day on ESPN Wisconsin and 620 WTMJ. Bud Light has always played a role in our communities, and there is no stronger backbone to the communities of America than our first responders. Building on Anheuser-Busch's 13-plus-year commitment to Folds of Honor, today and throughout the football season, Bud Light is committed to make a donation of $3 million to the Folds of Honor's First Responder Scholarship Fund. This marks a notable new platform for Folds of Honor, as their primary focus has historically revolved around military support. The partnership will harness the scale of Bud Light's influential relationship with the National Football League as the official beer sponsor. Together, Bud Light, the NFL, and Folds of Honor are aiming to raise awareness for the new First Responder Scholarship Program. Together, we will ensure that first responders across the nation learn about this invaluable opportunity. The scholarships ensure that families who sacrifice so much for the country and our communities receive the education and opportunities they deserve. Families of fallen or disabled first responders can find more information at budlight.com/folds of honor. All right, Colin, it's the time we've all been waiting for. It's time to dive into some prop bets and some of the juice. Maybe you're laying. Is sports gambling legal in Connecticut?
I think so, because it's legal in New Jersey and New York now. So I believe it is. To be honest with you, I'm not entirely sure, but I'm going to go with a yes.
I appreciate the honesty. Make your best bets every game day at the Island Resort and Casino, not in Connecticut, north of Milwaukee. Everybody's talking about the Island Resort and Casino, the largest resort north of Milwaukee, with gaming, dining, live entertainment, a sports book, a luxury spa, and championship golf. You can visit their website, islandresortandcasino.com, to book your getaway today. I want to start with a Lions prop bet, Colin, that I'm staring at, and I think it's really low. David Montgomery's over-under rushing yards today, 66.5. I feel like that's low for a guy that had over 100 the last time these two teams met up.
And it's low for a guy who's going to get the volume that he's likely due for today. I don't think we're going to see 32 carries like what we saw in Week 4, but in the realm of 20-plus carries is definitely in play here. I think the Lions are going to run the ball in the realm of 40, 45 times today. And that's just to make things easy for Goff, make things simple, and kind of wind the Packers down because they know they're shorthanded on defense. So if you're going to see David Montgomery get in the realm of 20-something carries, you got to be under the assumption that he's going to have at least 3 yards a carry, more than 3 yards a carry. So I think that's low as well. I would take the easy over on that. I think in the realm just under 100, but like in that 80s, 90s range, I think you'll see that with between him and Jahmyr Gibbs.
Packers side, Jordan Love over under 228.5 passing yards. He had over, obviously, 320 last week, as I mentioned at the top. 228.5 for Jay Love, obviously a shorthanded offense as well.
This is an interesting one. I'm curious to see what you think about this, because there's two ways you could look at this. Number one is that the Packers are, if you were to guess, we're going to be playing from behind a little bit in this game. But number two, they're shorthanded on offense. You don't know how stagnant it's really going to be. Are the Packers going to score 3 points in the first half like we saw in Week 4? Or are they going to be having to go vertical and hopefully get some points on the board? Is that going to lead to passing yards? So there's two ways to do it. I would probably take the over because of it, though.
I would take the over as well, but just because I lean, they're more shorthanded in the backfield than maybe they are in terms of pass catchers. They're missing two of their main ones in Luke Musgrave and Dontavian Wicks, but you still do have the resourceful Christian Watson, Romeo Doubs, Jaden Reed options as well to go along with Tucker Kraft making his first career start today. Green Bay Game Day brought to you in part by Rum Chata, which is the perfect blend of rum, cream, cinnamon, and vanilla flavors. The finest ingredients are carefully selected to create the world's finest liqueur, combining premium Caribbean rum, the highest quality dairy cream sourced from Wisconsin, and Mexican spice. Rum Chata offers a solution for any occasion, whether you're looking for a smooth Turkey Day shot, a tasty fall drink, or the perfect addition to your coffee. And back by popular demand, Rum Chata Peppermint Bark is now in stores for a limited time. The deliciousness of Rum Chata with a hint of peppermint is perfect for a little spike to your hot chocolate or warm beverage this Thanksgiving morning. Find Rum Chata at your local grocer or your favorite liquor store. Bottled in Pewaukee, Wisconsin, Rum Chata, have your unusual. 20 minutes from kickoff. Who will be the stars? Who will be disappointing? Who will make the jump and who will take the slump? We continue to dive into this one between the Packers and the Lions as we roll on next. It's Green Bay Game Day on ESPN Wisconsin at 620 WTMJ.
More Green Bay Game Day coming up on ESPN Wisconsin and 620 WTMJ.
Tito's Handmade Vodka is so good and smooth, you can mix it with anything. Now, hear us out. If your usual brunch cocktail sounds like a Tito's Bloody Mary stacked with garnishes is more like Tito's. Sounds pretty good. 40% alcohol by volume, namely 80 proof. Crafted to be savored responsibly.
You're only minutes away from a better buying experience at Simden Chevy in Mount Horeb. Jim Rutledge here. You heard me talk about them for years. I have my big blue truck from Simden Chevy in Mount Horeb. It is a Silverado. If you're in the market for a new or new to you Chevy Silverado or Colorado, I recommend Simden Chevy in Mount Horeb. Go see my guy Dan out there. You're only minutes away from a better buying experience at Simden Chevy in Mount Horeb.
Have you met your deductible? Are you stuck waiting in line to see an orthopedic physician? The team at Orthopedic and Spine Centers of Wisconsin can see you tomorrow. Their board-certified and fellowship-trained orthopedic and spine physicians have been treating patients in the Madison area for over 3 decades. They specialize in a wide range of areas, including sports medicine, joint replacement, spine, hand surgery, and more. Convenient and accessible, their team is dedicated to getting you back to being active and doing what you love. Visit orthospinecenters.com. That's orthospinecenters.com.
The host might be irrelevant, but the conversations aren't.
You're not a big drinker? Not really, no. But you do like the gummies. Well, remember, I went to a boarding school in upstate New York. I mean, geez, you don't think I'm going to get high once in a while?
Mr. Irrelevant with Alex Strofe.
You love the theory, Chris, that old men love to be naked.
They do. In public. In public. I think you reach an age where you're just like, I don't care, bro.
Mr. Irrelevant with Alex Strofe. Live on ESPN Medicine's YouTube every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. And available wherever you get your podcasts.
Kevin Hoffman is the owner-president of Event Essentials. For 3 decades, they've had document imaging technology from James Imaging Systems, your local business technology partner.
I consider them as an advisor, a consultant, a business partner, that sort of thing.
Kyocera from James Imaging Systems, Kyocera copiers, Kyocera network printers, Kyocera color systems, and local service that keeps your business running on all cylinders, all the time.
Yeah, I don't have to worry about that part of the business. I can come in at any hour of the day and scan a document or whatever and send it out. I just know that it's going to work.
James Imaging Systems, one goal, one priority, helping local businesses do business better.
I mean, I've been pleased over the years. It's just a good relationship overall.
Kyocera copier printers, and extraordinary service and support from James Imaging Systems. Call 608-221-3457 or visit jamesimaging.com. James Imaging Systems, your local business technology partner.
You're listening to Green Bay Game Day on ESPN Wisconsin and 620 WTMJ.
Green Bay Game Day, getting you set for Packers-Lions coming up 15 minutes from right now. The Packers looking for a win on Thanksgiving for the first time since 2011. They've played 2 games since then, 2013, 2015. Lost 1 to the Bears, lost 1 to the Lions. Have not won on Thanksgiving since a 27-15 victory over the Detroit Lions in 2011. That was the year the Packers went 15-1. The year after, they won Super Bowl 45. So, needless to say, it has been a minute for the Green Bay Packers since they won on Thanksgiving. Tito's Handmade Vodka on Game Day. Pour me in, coach, from a seat in the stands to the best seat on the couch. Root for your favorite team with your favorite team spirit. Stack a spicy Bloody Mary for your warm-up. Salt the rim of a Tito Rita during halftime, or take home the win with a Tito's and, well, anything. Soda, cranberry, or water with a squeeze of lemon. You're calling this game. You can change up your roster or wash that lucky jersey as long as you make Tito's your first-round bottle pick. Whose house? Tito's house. Find cocktail recipes for every fan at Tito'sVodka.com. 40% alcohol by volume, namely 80 proof, crafted to be savored responsibly. Put me in, coach. What say you, Colin Russo?
Today's game, first of all, are you nervous for today? Or is this sort of like a situation where...
No, so it's a good question. Nervous wouldn't be the right word anymore.
Because you've already seen this team.
Expectations, but also if I had expectations, right? Like if I viewed the Packers win over the Chargers as, oh boy, now they've got their footing. Here come the Green Bay Packers. Nobody's going to want to see this team. They're going to be, they're going to be 9-7 or whatever the math is, 9-8 at the end of the year, sneak into the play. Like I just don't view it that way. I view this game, and we'll get to our game picks coming up next, but I view this game as a loss for the Packers. So nervous isn't the right word, though.
Even coming off a big Charger win at home, a little bit of juice out of Jordan Love, this is sort of like that. In a way, it's just like you're trapped in this game. It's 3 days after you just had a big win. You're on the road, and nobody's healthy. So it's, I don't want to say throwaway, but you're not as worried at the outcome of the game as much as you could be as a Packer fan.
You got it. Yeah, no, look, I want to see improvement. I want to see Jordan Love look good again. But I think that's what this season's about, right? I don't think the expectations, and you'd be familiar with this as a Jacksonville Jaguars fan, right? A lot of times when the Jags weren't very good, which was most of your life, that you went in, that wasn't a shot, that's just a fact. You go into that season thinking, okay, is Blake Bortles our dude or not, right? And then you can start stacking things. And yeah, of course, it's good to see the development and the progression of some of the young pass catchers. I think Romeo Doubs has had a really nice sophomore jump. I think Christian Watson, on the other hand, has been in a little bit of a sophomore slump. But you look at Jaden Reed and Dontavian Wicks and Luke Musgrave, who some of which you expected to play big roles and some of which have been really nice surprises, particularly Dontavian Wicks. When it comes to the backfield today, I'm excited to see what Matt LaFleur does with it. But I don't have high expectations because I don't think A.J. Dillon will be a Packer for much longer. And I don't think Patrick Taylor is going to all of a sudden evolve into an NFL superstar running back. So the things I am paying attention to are, A, is Jordan Love growing and still consistent? B, what are the young pass catchers doing? And C, do the Packers look better against the Lions than they did in Week 4?
You mentioned earlier in the show, like, you're finally seeing the plan, quote unquote, kind of uncover for the Packers here. So your main takeaway of, is it, I guess it's today's game, is it the rest of the season? You just want to see the plan move forward?
Yeah, I care about the plan. And youth movement was clearly the plan for Brian Gutekunst entering the season. And last week you felt like the plan was coming together. You understood the vision because in 2024, if you see what you saw last week out of the Green Bay Packers offense on a regular basis in 2024 and 2025 when all these guys will still be under contract, you're going to be pretty damn excited about this team's potential. And unfortunately, it just means 2023 kind of a lost season.
If the Packers, if they weren't going to take this walk away today with a W, what is a good loss in your eyes?
In terms of like differential point-wise?
Could be that, but it could be what you see as well.
I want them to keep it single digits in a loss, and I want Jordan Love to play clean football. Don't turn the ball over, and if you do, only do it once. Respond well to adversity. Don't go 3 and out a ton. Mix up the play calling. Matt LaFleur had his best, from a design standpoint, he had his best game-calling game last week against the Chargers. He put the receivers in spots to succeed. So just continue that. And, I think Detroit is a legitimate Super Bowl contender. So this will be a good gauge of where the Packers are at. Good questions by Colin Russo interviewing me, Alex Strofe, here on Green Bay Game Day. We make our game picks, give our final thoughts. Coming up next, it's Green Bay Game Day on 620 WTMJ and ESPN Wisconsin.
We're back with Green Bay Game Day after this on ESPN Wisconsin and 620 WTMJ.
Circus Sports is now available at American Place. Bet on your favorite Milwaukee and Wisconsin teams, from Wisconsin football and basketball to all the Milwaukee basketball action, as well as more games nationwide. The Circus Sportsbook at American Place has 36 TVs, so you won't miss any of the action. And it's just 30 minutes from Kenosha and 45 minutes from Racine. For more information and to find out about their events, go to circusports.com. All Circus Sports bets must be placed in Illinois. If you or someone you know may have a problem with gambling, call 1-800-GAMBLER or text GAMB to 833-234.
Former NFL player and Rose Bowl champion Tarek Saleh here for Carbon World Health. Carbon is much more than just another gym. They offer the best recovery in the area. Some of my favorites include red light therapy and cryotherapy. Improve your athletic performance, fitness and training results, speed up muscle recovery and reduce pain, and boost your mood with these simple and non-invasive treatments. Visit Carbon World Health today and ask for the ESPN Recovery Package. That's Carbon World Health.
Amazon's got the best deals on Black Friday. Oh, the best deals are on Cyber Monday. Friday comes first when it comes to saving. Monday's worth the wait for what you've been craving. Deals so good it'll feel like stealing. Real cool message, could you make it less appealing? What's with the beef? You can get that too. Won't you call us? What's triggering you? Whichever day you're shopping on, you'll save a bunch at Amazon. On Black Friday, Cyber Monday too.
This Thanksgiving at Total Wine & More, find bourbons and Cabernets that you adore. Our helpful guides are so friendly and nice. So many bottles to try at the lowest price. So gather with friends as you sit down to eat. Grateful for all who made Thanksgiving complete.
With the lowest prices for over 30 years, you'll always find what you love and love what you find. Only at Total Wine & More.
Drink responsibly, B21.
The area's best high school sports coverage is Zimbrick Honda's presentation of Prep Mania.
Got it. History at Camp Randall Stadium. Carter Butt with his 5th touchdown carry of the day, most ever in a Division VII state championship game.
Zimbrick Honda's Prep Mania is also brought to you by Canopy Wealth Management, Pasquale's Cantina, UW Credit Union, Stoughton Trailers, the GRB Academy, and Stoughton Health.
In a world without Mountain Dew, life would be pretty dull. Because when you crack open an ice-cold Mountain Dew, you enter a world where the ground rules of life are a little different. So grab yourself a Mountain Dew and get that incomparable blast of neon citrus flavor. Together with Mountain Dew, there's nothing you can't do and almost nothing you won't do to take things to the next level. Hey, the operating rule is pretty simple. If you're not having an outrageously good time, you're not drinking Dew. Mountain Dew. Do the Dew.
This is Green Bay Game Day on ESPN Wisconsin and 620 WTMJ.
Wrap it up, Green Bay Game Day. Kickoff coming up in less than 10 minutes between the Packers and the Lions. Kicking off the Thanksgiving festivities today. The bald eagle on Toby Keith. Happy Thanksgiving to all of you. I'm Alex Strofe. Alongside Colin Russo, we'll make our game picks momentarily. But one more time, got to tell you about Bud Light and how they have always played a role in our communities. And there is no stronger backbone to the communities of America than our first responders. Building on Anheuser-Busch's 13-year commitment to Folds of Honor, today and throughout this football season, Bud Light has committed a donation of $3 million to the Fold of Honor's First Responder Scholarship Fund. This marks a notable new platform for Folds of Honor, as their primary focus has historically revolved around military support. The partnership will harness the scale of Bud Light's influential relationship with the National Football League as the official beer sponsor. Together, Bud Light, the NFL, and Folds of Honor are aiming to raise awareness for the new First Responder Scholarship Program. Together, they will ensure that first responders across the nation learn about this invaluable opportunity. The scholarships ensure that families who sacrifice so much for the country and our communities receive the education and opportunities that they deserve. Families of fallen or disabled first responders can find more information at the website. That's budlight.com/folds of honor. Lions, 7.5-point favorites over the Green Bay Packers. Game kicks off in about 5 minutes at Ford Field in Detroit. The Packers have not won on Thanksgiving since 2011. That was the 15-1 season where they fell in the playoffs early to the eventual Super Bowl champion New York Giants the year after the Packers won the Super Bowl in the 2010 season. It's been a minute, Colin Russo. Will today be the day, in your opinion?
You know, I was thinking about this the whole show. I don't think this is going to be the day for the Packers. They get back in the win column. Just too many things aren't going right. The injuries is not helping. You're on the road, a team that, has a lot of juice right now, definitely playing well. And I think the Lions got their ugly game out of the way, if you will. Like the good teams, they'll have an ugly game once every 3-4 games where they're going to show skin a little bit and then they're potentially getting knocked off with a loss. I think that the Lions had that last week against the Bears. I don't think they're going to stack that twice, especially on Thanksgiving. It's 25 million people going to watch this. I think the Lions are going to get back on track. Give me the Lions in this one. I think it'll be probably a 13-point game would be what I would take. Not as ugly as the first game, and I think the Packers will show some life. It's just a matter of I think it's just not enough is going right for the Packers in order for them to escape Ford Field today with a victory.
Yeah, I spent the commercial break pondering what you asked me. What would you be okay with in a loss? And I told you in the last segment, keep it under 10. I think they do lose by 10 today. I'll take the Lions as well, 27-17. I think your point on the rough game, they got it out of the way. They're going to come into this one hungry on a short week with a chip on their shoulder. 4 turnovers for that offense, obviously the most the Lions have had all season, including the most Jared Goff has had all season, 3 interceptions last week against the lowly Chicago Bears. I don't think it looks that way this week for the Lions offense. I think they score 3 touchdowns, kick a couple of field goals. And the Packers get into the end zone twice. I think Jordan Love still looks good. I am curious to see if he plays clean football. I would love for this to be a turnoverless game for the Packers offense. It's tough to guarantee that. It's tough to expect that. But it's certainly what I would like to see today. So we're both picking the Lions. I think that's kind of what everybody expects, and obviously Vegas expects.
To your point, I think what you said and alluded to earlier and with your point there, if you see progress in the plan, I think a Packer fan has to escape today happy. I don't think your dinner should be spoiled if Jordan Love, like you said, plays clean football, shows some guts, has a couple drives here and there where he really makes something out of nothing. I think that's where you're really optimistic about what you saw. And I think further development from the rookie, seeing something from Christian Watson. I think the defense playing with some guts as well. And honestly, you mentioned Matt LaFleur. We haven't talked about him that much. If Matt LaFleur comes in and, he's creative, but he's also gutsy in his play calling, and he'll go for it here, and he clock manages right, and he does what a head coach needs to do in a big spot. If you see all of that and the Packers just get beat by a better team who's healthy, you can't cry about it. You can't be upset about it. I think ultimately you got to take that for what it's worth and move on to the following week.
Thanks to Rob Demovsky and Jason Wilde for joining us today on Green Bay Game Day. Enjoy the food, enjoy the family, enjoy the football. Don't be an idiot. Get home safe. Drive smart. Drive safe throughout the holiday weekend this weekend. Colin, always a blast hanging out with you, my friend. Thanks for doing this over the course of the last 3 hours.
Thank you, Shove. Always a pleasure. I'm here whenever you need me.
Yeah, I'll take you up on that more than you'd probably like. A big thanks to all of our producers today, Max Meyerson, Hunter Vaughn, and Greg Hill. You fellows are the best. Thanks for spending your Thanksgiving morning with us. Enjoy the football. Packers-Lions coming up in 2 minutes. Remember to tune into Green Bay Game Night with Gabe Neitzel, Mark Tasher, and Jason Wilde after the game. Instant reaction and analysis to what we think will be a Packers loss, but I damn sure hope will be a Packers victory. This has been Green Bay Game Day on ESPN Wisconsin at 620 WTMJ.
Buckle up. It's all systems go at Potawatomi. Plug in to high wattage play and you could win an all-electric BMW i7. Play now through September with your